Good morning, everyone. I extend my warm welcome to all the dignitaries and participants present in this National Summit 2020, Innovation in Forensic Era, structured by the JACS Foundation, presenting the theme of the innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. I would like to thank all the people for their dedication, efforts, and time. Our today's keynote speakers are Mr. Samir Dutt and Dr. Arun Sharma. Mr. Samir Dutt, he is the certified disk duplication and computer forensics specialist from the USA. He is the founder CEO of the foundation Futuristic Technological Limited, better known as forensicguru.com. Our second is Dr. Arun Sharma, he is the director and the directorate of the forensic services, timely reports, and the quality reports. Now, I am honored to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Samir Dutt.
A very good morning to everyone, to all the dignitaries present in the conference, participants, and delegates of the National Summit 2020, Innovation in the Forensic Era. As you're all aware, this is inspired by the idea of the United Nations Development Programme of Sustainable Development Goals 2030. These emphasize the idea of continuous contributions and innovations. Other than that, our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, had laid out his 8-point vision for the 21st century India. And the concept was to unite the entire country by adopting good governance and using technology. So the National Summit is going to help on a massive scale. And this is organized by the JACS Foundation, which is an international organization recognized by the Government of India under the Indian Trust Act. JACS Foundation has joined hands with the Sherlock Institute of Forensic Science. This is an endeavor for the development, representation, and advancement of different areas of forensic science. So what are the summit objectives? Basically, to provide a common platform for academicians, researchers, practitioners, and government officials to share ideas related to applications of forensic research and innovation. To provide an open platform for forensic aspirants to carry out their own ventures, facilitated by detailed information and opportunities. What measures should be considered to widen the spread of application of forensic science and to provide an academic forum for discussing the barriers, issues, and challenges faced in successful implementation of research and innovative outcomes to society? To facilitate academic deliberations as to how to further the core objectives of forensics, operating towards enhancing the overall human experience and quality of life. So let's talk about innovation. India is the land of innovation. I mean, you remember the, COVID, when, COVID became so widespread, everybody was worried. Nobody wanted to, get in contact with each other. So people came up with very innovative solutions. And you can see social distancing at its best here. There is a milkman. He is, delivering milk to somebody, and he's doing it from a distance. And this is 100% working innovation at its best. This is our Indian jugaad. So India is the land of innovation. In fact, the power of Indian innovation is huge. I mean, it's not, really common to see this kind of innovation in a lot of other countries. In India, you will find that, people will, make a cycle look like a motorcycle. They will convert a motorcycle into a three-wheeler. They will, do a lot of things. They will be pumping water up the mountain, using innovative techniques and a lot of things. That's because we have innovation in our blood. We have it in our DNA. So why don't we have it in forensics? That is the question. So we need to build the right kind of ecosystem to encourage forensic innovation. We need to stop looking at the West for everything. This is a great tendency that we have, that we have to, look at the West and we think, that is the best. It is not. In fact, a few years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was speaking at a particular conference, and I was presenting certain technologies that we have developed in India. Now, these were related to, telecom log investigations. So, after my session was over, a lot of these law enforcement and government people, they came outside of the room and they all, surrounded me and they said, how did you, develop a thing like this in India? India is not known for forensic innovation. It's not known for investigative, innovations. So, I said, look, in India, we have got 1.3 billion people, 900 million cell phones. The cost of a call is less than 1/100th of a cent per second, and now it's free because of Reliance Geo to Geo and things like that. So we don't have very good say fingerprint databases. We don't have very strong DNA databases. We don't have very good ballistic databases. So today most of the investigations start from the telecom area. So if we are not good, we are not going to catch anybody. So we have to be the best. So that is why, we really lead in that area. So that's why we need to stop looking at the West for everything. We have the kind of volumes nobody else has, the kind of expertise that nobody else has. Our doctors have the best experience. Our scientists have the most exposure because of the volume of cases that they see. So, we should start looking at our own capabilities and develop our own research and our own innovation and, go with that. So both innovative technologies and methodologies can come from India, and they should come from India. The basic idea behind forensics is to provide scientific evidence of a crime. That has to be backed by proven scientific methodologies in a manner acceptable to courts of law. So what is required to do that? So we need to actually have, a lovely ecosystem that supports that. We need to build an environment of encouragement. I like this, phrase, an environment of encouragement. For an ecosystem to be effective, it needs to encourage the inhabitants of that ecosystem to innovate, to bring up new things. So that is why I say, we must have an environment of encouragement. We need support for research, for government and academia. We need financial support, we need technological support, we need structural support, we need all sorts of support. The government and academia needs to encourage true research, a research that's not been done before. Really cutting edge things that are which will actually impact society, which will produce results, which we can take to the world. Rather than importing things, let's be more Atmanirbhar. Let's develop these kind of research and capabilities in-house. The direction for research needs to be guided. You can involve the private sector and academia in this. They need to be pointed in the right direction. A lot of steps are being taken these days. You find a lot of like DRDO is organizing things, the ISRO is organizing things, saying, oh look, we need research in these areas, we need technology in these areas, we need import substitution in these areas. So this is a great trend. It's the same thing we need to start looking at from the forensics perspective. We need to say, all right, we need research in these areas. These are the things we've got to look at. The private sector is innovative. You need to encourage it. You need to say, all right, guys, go ahead and do it. What happens is that the government looks at the private sector with a jaundiced eye. They will say, oh, this is the private sector. Ye private hai, bhai, inka koi interest hai. Things happen because inka interest hai. If the private sector has an interest in the area, they will make things happen. They will invest time, effort and money into that area to bring innovation to that area. So if you encourage it, it will do well. anywhere in the world. I mean, if you look at countries like Israel, if you look in the US, the innovation, the expertise has come from the private sector. They have worked with the government bodies. They have worked with the academia. You'll find a lot of partnerships with universities, with government organizations, and products have been developed and solutions have been brought that are really groundbreaking, path breaking. So all that has to be done, and if you encourage the private sector, they'll get involved. There needs to be a preference for Indian products. This is beginning to happen, though more on paper, but hopefully, it will also be visible on the ground. So it's the fact of be vocal about local. As per our Prime Minister, he said that we should be vocal about local. So let's make this happen. Let's think along these lines. Let's innovate locally and then be vocal about it. That this is an innovation that has been done locally. This is an Indian innovation. Let's go for it. We need to support to take Indian products global. I mean, we need to bring this culture into our government bureaucracy, into our different foreign embassies and high commissions and things like that. That because we find so many other foreign countries, embassies and high commissions taking a proactive approach to promote their products in India. We should have the same approach. Last year I was in Greece. We were having a meeting with some government officials there about certain products that we have from India, which we were taking there, and we had meetings with all the top officials in Greece. But to get a meeting with the Indian Trade Commissioner over there in the embassy, they said, you send us a letter and we'll get in touch with you after a week or so. So you see, the approach has to change. That thinking has to change. You have to look at being for your country, for promoting your products. You need to get rid of the bureaucracy and start, thinking nationally, thinking, innovatively. So these things are required and these have to be looked at. And then we need to build new methodologies for new technologies to enable advanced forensic capabilities. So can we make this happen? Absolutely. All we need to do is get all our things aligned. We need to get all our ducks in a row. That's what we need to do. So remember, if we can get all our ducks in a row, innovation is in our hand. We can make it happen. So innovate, 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 so India can lead the world. It's our time to shine. Thank you very much. And I wish the summit all the very best. I would like to thank all the dignitaries present in the conference, the participants and delegates of the National Summit. And I would conclude my speech by encouraging all the delegates to participate with full enthusiasm. I wish everyone a successful, safe, and fruitful conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your words. We will always take care for the environment or the encouragement. We will always take care for this one. So now I would like to honor our next keynote speaker, who is Dr. Arun Sharma. Our next keynote speaker is Dr. Arun Sharma.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. That is how we meet on certain occasions.
Sir, good to see you.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning to all of you. And I'm very happy to learn that Mr. Smith Dutt has rightly said that India has been leader in forensic in the past also. If you go through the history in Indian scenario, whether right from the Rig Veda time or Kautilya time, there has been a lot of things that was done in the forensic, but somehow or the other we were taught that forensic had come all the way from foreign land, which is not correct. If you go through the history, you will come across so many examples where Kautilya and it has been said that these things have been employed, though there were not certain scientific tests and all that, but yet they were using forensic in the investigation of sexual assault, in the case of death, poisoning, or the disputed paternity, all these issues. But in the recent time, forensic has evolved greatly. And challenge lies on us because of the importance that we have gained over a period of time, that we have been able to solve the mysteries of the crime, whether any case, high profile cases here and there, whether it was in my state or elsewhere in different parts of the country. And forensic, as a result thereof, has gained a lot of importance, and people know about that. Forensic is going to solve the mysteries of crime for the simple reason that it is based on scientific tenets. When science is there, transparency is there, because this is an era of right to information act and all these things are there. So the responsibility is also passed on to forensic people, that we should deliver to the society and come to the expectation of the society. So for that, I personally feel that with this background in mind, I thought that a quality report is most important thing that a forensic lab or any forensic setup can deliver. And at the same time, equally important is that the reports are also delivered in a time-bound manner. Because the report delivered after years or months together becomes somewhat irrelevant, or somehow may not be of use to the society or to the investigation agencies or even courts. So with that thing in mind, I thought quality report is very important. And now when we talk about the quality, when innovation, we are talking about the innovation, so very equally important becomes, okay, why should be quality? What are the ingredients of the quality? So quality is not simply by saying the quality is there, because if you go to the literal meaning of the quality, it's a degree of excellence. So degree of excellence is very important in our work also. In forensic report, it is much more important because we are dealing with the lives and liberties of the individual. Our single report can take a person to the gallows, and single report can take a person away from the gallows. So we have to understand that the quality of report is very short. And how this quality is to be maintained, there are so many things which have to be maintained. For example, I would like to say, first of all, quality of the manpower. And if the quality of the manpower is correct, and quality of the manpower will be based on certain things, that he should be a qualified man, he should be a trained person. Before that, I think slide is there, I forgot a little bit. That, as I told you, that there is a lot of emphasis is on the society is putting a lot of responsibility on us. So we need to gain that confidence of the people. Next slide, please. In that, you see, in my state, by doing service to the society, we have been able to earn the confidence of the masses. 24 घंटे बारिश में भीगता रहा, पेड़ से लटका छात्र का शव, forensic team आनपुर उतारा. So that level of confidence has to be in the society, that these people are here, they will give you the correct report, they will unravel the mystery of the crime, whether it was a suicidal hanging or a person was murdered and then it was hanged there. So all these questions will be answered by the forensic. So that is the level of this confidence or the credibility we have achieved on our state. And this is because we have been trying to deliver quality reports so that investigation agencies as well as courts have confidence in us. Next, please. So I told you that the quality is very important. So how to maintain this quality? So first and foremost thing is quality of manpower. Quality of manpower is so important that he will be properly qualified. He should be trained. That means he has been imparted proper training in that profession. And qualification means he should have at least postgraduate or PhD, having a wide experience in the conferences, India and abroad, or in international conferences, so that you are able to interact with the people there and pass on certain information from there. And also, so these are things. So qualified, I mean that way. And when you have qualified the person, he has been trained in the oriented in the profession, then equally important is he need to have a skill also, that is ability to perform a task. He should be a skilled person also. It's not only he should be qualified and trained only. He should be able to handle the task in hand effectively and correctly, and so that results are accepted. So next is quality of, when you are doing these things, quality of sampling. So quality of sampling is also very important, for the simple reason being, it is said that garbage in, garbage out. So in today's scientific era, that quality, because of samples or this physical evidences present at the scene of crime, has to be properly collected, identified, collected, and then preserved also. And then here equally important becomes that the sampling protocols, for example, meant for physical evidences may not be applicable for digital evidence. They are different. Similarly, sampling protocol for the DNA evidence may be different for the sampling protocol meant for the collection of document evidences, or for that matter, voice sample. So the person who's entrusted with the task of sampling, he should be well-trained person. He should have a knowledge scientific background. And I would emphasize here that the forensics at the scene, at the time of investigation, forensic experts should invariably be associated, so that whenever there is a sampling, there should be no issue afterwards that this case could not be solved for the simple reason there was not a proper sampling. So there should be no escape route for any person, or there should be no loophole in the system as far as investigation is concerned. And accordingly, we have also recently, there was a meeting from the government side to amend the CRP, CIPC and all these things. So we had also recommended that the investigation procedure, there should be amendment in the CRP so that 156A should be included, so that there is a element of forensic collection, forensic investigation in the crime investigation along with the police investigation. So then I again emphasizing is on the sampling part. Second becomes recording of the crime scene. That is 3D crime scene now is a very good tool. Now we should not, this money and all this should not be allowed to come in the way that this 3D is expensive. But the results are so good, so good, or so acceptable to the courts or investigation agencies, that we should not shy away from taking over this technology to the crime scene. We have utilized it and solved the cases where there was a allegation of police people and all those things. That is a long time story. I will not be able to explain that thing. But I personally utilize this thing, and I personally feel now, and in addition to that, all the evidences present at the scene of crime will be properly taken care of. There will be no doubts what was the distance, or at times certain things are left out because of human error. But there's this 3D crime scene recorder will be able to collect and record all the types of evidences present at the scene. Then equally important, because sometimes there is an allegation from the society that these people manipulate the evidence, either police people or sometimes some person may be influencing the person working in the lab. So in order to minimize that thing, that is element of biasness also. So it becomes that equally important that we should have a barcoding of exhibits from the crime scene itself to till the sample reaches the lab. So that expert is also not aware of which case he's handling. Police is also not aware who is sending the sample, whom is there sending the sample in the lab. So all these things will repose the public's confidence in the investigation process. So that is why I'm saying the quality of the sampling is very important. Then becomes the quality of the instrumentation. When you have collected the samples, everything has been done properly. So then the sample should also be properly analyzed in the labs. And for that, I think, am I audible? I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Because the screen is not available, so I thought something has gone. Anyway, so this I was talking about the quality of instrumentation. So forensic labs are now supposed to have a state-of-the-art labs. They should be equipped with all kind of equipment, and sometimes in certain specialties, it is not only one issue. For example, in chemical sciences, you should have GCHS, GCMS, or even LCMS. So all these things will be helping in getting better results from the lab. Similarly, in the specialty of the DNA, there should also not only be gene sequencer, we should have a facility for mitochondrial DNA, we should have a facility for next generation sequencing, and even for rapid DNA typing also, so that we are in certain cases, we require the sample immediately, that in 90 minutes or 2 hours, so that the results are given to the investigation agencies to get proper lead in the investigation. So in this situation, instrumentation becomes very important in the availability of the instrumentation in the lab, so that, for example, all the types of evidence which have been collected from the scene of crime, every lab should be able to analyze. There should be no scope, or there should be no excuse that we are not able to do it for the simple reason that because instruments were not there. So similarly, then comes the quality of analysis. Once instruments are there, you have been able to get the results and all those. Then interpretation of the results is also important. So now, earlier there used to be a color test. Now then came era of instrumentation. Now one step ahead we have gone, that is database. So now everywhere you will find database of DNA, database of firearm, database of fingerprint, database of this documents. In document sciences, you have a database of currency, database of passport, database of visa. All these things helps us, because what is database? Database is not simply, it is a organized, structured information which can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. So that is the database. So it has been observed, it has been reported from America and all those, wherever they have a DNA database, they were able to observe that the 40% of the crime cases in burglary alone, they were down. So that is the potential or importance of the database. So similarly, we need to go for database in this, and we should employ this in the investigation for the quality of reports or quality of the analysis there. Then nowadays, in the wildlife crime cases also, we have a 3D this DNA barcoding system also. So all these things are there. Once you have analyzed the sample, then reporting of the results is also very important. Because if the results you have analyzed the sample properly, person should be able to take the care that these reports are properly worded, they are taking properly, all the tests have been mentioned there, the language should be very good, that there should be minimum, there should be no error of spelling, there should be no error of grammatics mistakes. All these things should not be there, and then properly worded also. One should see what type of word is required so that you are able to communicate effectively. There comes the role of communication skill also. So it is not only in writing, but and also reporting and testimony also. So when you are reporting this results, so that it becomes important that you should have a properly worded report, and at least it is in the NABL standard, they have given a very good format how to write a report. And one of the things I've observed that they have emphasized the report should be accurately, it should be clearly, it should be. Hello. Okay, I'm finishing. So quality of reporting is there only, and then comes the testimony also. In the testimony also, we have to see that things are properly presented, because the law itself says that this in the testimony, again, whatever the results have been there, it should be your body language should be there, you should be able to use properly communicate effectively there, so that reports are acceptable in the court of law, and whatever results have been observed, those should be with proper citation, all those things should be there. Next, please. Now, timely report. Now, earlier, the law has given a certain time frame. Now, it is responsibility on we people that we should not be guided, or somebody should be behind you that you should report in this much time, in this much time. These are the parameters that have been laid down by the Constitutional Act, that is either CRPC or sometimes POXO Act. So we should take this onus, should lie on us, and responsibility that we should report the cases within a time frame of 2 to 4 weeks, and that is vision statement in our laboratory also, in our organization, that we should be able to report the case. And we have in the NABL quality policy also, we have said that we'll be reporting the results from this in a time frame of 2 weeks to 4 weeks in order to accelerate the investigation and justice given system. Please go ahead. Next, please. So what are the best advantage? That is all. Thank you very much, and I wish you good luck and best wishes to the organizers of the workshop.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your knowledge. So now over to Ms. Anju, our moderator of the evening, to take over the further proceedings.
Thank you, Namita. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
So, good morning, everyone. So, are you all excited for the second day of the summit? I hope you all are, because we already had a good start with our chief guest. And yesterday we have learned a lot about different aspects of forensic, like forensic psychology, environmental aspects, new trends in forensic, as well as the real life scenarios in crime investigation. And today we have much more to learn. And Since this is a virtual platform, we don't have the luxury of tea break, so I suggest you grab a cup of coffee and be ready. We're just about to start, and during this session, if you have any doubts, you can jot it down and put it in the chat box, and you can take the screenshots as well if you want. So let's begin. All the dignitaries, participants, and delegates, once again, I welcome everyone to this National Summit 2020. And now I would like to invite all our speakers for today. Dr. Surendra Kumar Pal, Assistant Director, Forensic Anthropologist, Directorate of Forensic Service. Dr. Reena Susan Phillip, Associate Professor and Head of UG Department of Forensic Sciences, Jain University. Dr. Bhupesh Kumar Sharma, Associate Professor and Forensic Science Freelance Forensic Expert. Dr. Akhilesh Pathak, Head of the Forensic Medicine and Toxicology Department, AIMS. Dr. Ranjit Singh, Founder and Managing Director of Sherlock Institute of Forensic Science, India Private Limited. Dr. Sharon P. Thomas, Assistant Professor, Jain University. Mr. Ashok Kashyap, Handwriting and Fingerprint Expert. Siddiqui Mohammed K. Moinuddin, Senior Scientific Assistant, LNJ and NICFS. And Mr. Afruzullah Khan, Founder and CEO of Nyayak Vikya. So we'll begin with the plenary session. So for that, we have Dr. Surendra Kumar Pal with us, and he'll be talking us. He will be talking to us about child sexual abuse in Himachal Pradesh. So Dr. Surendra Kumar Pal, he has earned his doctorate in biological anthropology, and he's currently working as an assistant director in the Department of Biology and Serology at Regional Forensic Science Laboratory, Dharamshala. He has worked with so many cases of sexual assault, rape, homicide cases, hanging cases, and even wildlife forensics. And in addition, he used to give his expert testimony in the court of law as well. And he is well conversant with criminal trends and advanced forensic techniques and technologies. So let's welcome him, Dr. Surendra Kumar Pal, sir. Warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I will be speaking on child sex in Himachal Pradesh. I have been working as Assistant Director in Biology and Serology Division, Directorate of Forensic Services, Himachal Pradesh. Greetings to present his speech just now. POCSO Act, Protection of Children under Sexual Offences Act 2012 came into existence in 2012. The study was conducted at Regional Forensic Science Laboratory, Laboratory Dharamshala. The study is of 3 years, where children starting from age 1 to 8 were studied. You may be well aware of this thing. The sexual assault is any involuntary sexual assault.
Sir, your voice. Excuse me, sir. Sir, your voice is breaking. So I think if there is internet issue, your voice is breaking, sir. So if you want, you can turn off the camera if there is any internet issues.
Okay. Sexual assault is any involuntary sexual act in which a person is threatened, forced to engage against will or any sexual touching of a person who has not consented. This includes rape such as forced vaginal, anal or oral penetration, inappropriate touching, forced kissing, child sexual abuse or the torture of the victim in a sexual manner. In a modern era, the innocent has changed life of the people and playing a greater role in sex crimes. The new technologies and cyber stalking provide new ways of harassment and intimidation of children. Until 2012, the only sexual offences against children recognized by the law were covered by 3 sections of the Indian Penal Code and were not specific to children. The only crimes registered were rape, outraging modesty of women, and unnatural acts defined as carnal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, women, or animal. The POCSO Act 2012 had made a significant contribution for tracking the cases against children and adolescents. The aim of the present study was to determine the social demographic. Outcomes, results of the study, the cases of female sexual assault, that is 95.58%, outnumber the male sexual assault, that is 2.76%. The study revealed that the most vulnerable age group was 16 to 18 years, that is 48.6% victims. 71.27% of the less sexual assault victims were students. This indicates that the most vulnerable group is student. Most commonly, sexual crimes were committed by the person familiar to the victims, that is 85% person. 97% victims were unmarried. Maximum number of victims were medical level examined on second day of incidence. Hymen was found intact in 12% female victims. Torn ruptured in 4 years in 22% cases. Spermatozoa was detected in 30% cases on undergarments, pubic hair, vaginal swabs, vaginal smear slides, clothes, and bedsheet. It means that we are not getting evidence properly if the victim is not medically examined at the earliest possible. The victim who has gone under the incident, who was raped, sexually assaulted, should be examined at the earliest possible so that evidence is.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, your voice is breaking. So, can you please adjust your microphone?
Okay. Now I would come to the age. Most targeted age group was 11 to 18 years. That the percentage of the victims come around 89%. The adolescents are the most targeted group. 97.23% of the victims were unmarried and 1.10% were married. Profession of the victims, as far as profession of the victim is concerned, 71% of the targeted group was student. Students remain the most vulnerable group. As far as season is concerned, winter season indicates that 31% of the crime reported in the month of winter, while monsoon and summer. The place of incidence where the incident took place was accused home in 38% of the cases and victim's home in 17% of the cases. This indicates that victim's house and accused house was the places for taking this, doing this act. Here commits the sexual assault. 89% of the cases in which the sexual assault took place were known persons. Stranger were 10% only. This is very shocking that the person who are known to the victim, who are acquainted to the victim, did the act. And as far as incest rape is concerned, father committed sexual assault, rape in 3.86% cases, uncle in 3 cases, grandfather in 2 cases. So the family members and close relatives are doing the act with the adolescents, with the children. As far as incidence and medical legal examination is concerned, the medical legal examination was done in the same day in 14% cases only. Second day in 27% cases, third day in 20 cases, and fourth day in 9% cases. It means if the medical examination is not done within the time frame, that is at the earliest possible, we may lose the evidences. We may not be finding semen, we may not be finding spermatozoa in the evidences. Semen may not be present after 3 days in the private part of the girl. So, first priority is the medical legal examination. And before that, if there is any kind of injury, any kind of health issue, she should be taken to the hospital first, and primary care, primary health should be given in the hospital before going to medical legal examination. Now, I would come to the spermatozoa according to FSL reports. We have received 181 cases within 3 years, and in which spermatozoa sperms were reported in 30% cases. So we may be lacking in conducting medical legal examination at the earliest possible. In some cases, the victim had taken bath, doused the private parts, and changed the clothes. So if such kind of evidences are not there, we may not be able to detect the sperms, semen, blood on the apparels. So these kind of evidences may be preserved at the earliest possible and should be sent to the forensic lab as soon as possible, so that we may not destroy any vital evidence. POCSO Act 2012 made a significant contribution to deal with child sexual abuse cases in India. With rising the number of reported cases indicate that law plays an important role in educating the people and sensitizing the criminal justice system. Child sexual abuse is a heinous crime, and no age group can be considered as safe. Though young girls and adolescents are at risk, most effective age group was 16 to 18 years, as this is a tender age. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was a really an eye-opening speech for us, because we know that it's some hard truth to digest for all of us, but it's always important to know that what's happening around us and to take some necessary steps and to teach the next generation about it. So thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
you. Moving on to our next speaker. So the next topic is forensic microbiology today and tomorrow. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Microbes, huh? We have heard and experienced a lot about this virus and bacteria this year because of this coronavirus. But let's see what our speaker has to say about forensic microbiology now. Let's welcome our next speaker, Dr. Rina Susan Phillip, who is currently heading UG Department of Forensic Sciences, and she's serving as an associate professor at Jain Deemed to be University. She has 16 years of experience in teaching, research, and administration, and has a doctorate in botany. Her research interests are interdisciplinary in nature that aims at developing plant-based, novel, reliable, economical, and sustainable tools and techniques with application in forensic sciences. Her current research areas include forensic botany and forensic microbiology. She is also a member of Board of Studies and examiners for a few reputed colleges in Bangalore as well. So let's welcome Dr. Rina Susan Phillip. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anju.
you.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries, the organizers of the National Summit, my esteemed colleagues and dearest students who are participating in the summit today. It is indeed a humble privilege to me that I get to be a part of this wonderful initiation from the JAX Foundation as well as the Government of India. I think at times like this, such national summits, which can bring in the academics as well as the industry together, is of utmost importance. I'm sharing my presentation. So my topic for today is forensic microbiology today and tomorrow. As Anju very correctly put, in today's scenario, at the present COVID-19 lockdown and the pandemic situation, I think a subject like forensic microbiology or a branch of study like forensic microbiology needs to be looked at a little more in detail. I think all of us are very familiar with this picture. It is of the 2001 anthrax attack. Although there has been several instances of use of these microorganisms, either as biocrime or as a part of bioterror or even as biowarfare weapons, the 2001 attack was a real eye-opener. And so to say, the COVID-19 pandemic situation today is yet another incident why a branch of study like forensic microbiology needs to be looked into with newer perspectives, and there is a need for greater innovations in the particular field. So my lecture today, I intend to cover it under the 4 topics. What is forensic microbiology, its relevance or its significance in today's scenario, the practices at present, and of course the recent advancement in the field. Forensic microbiology need not be introduced to all of us. I think all of us are familiar with it. And as the name suggests, it is nothing but an amalgamation between 2 fields of study, that is microbiology and forensic science. But what I would bring to the table today is the 2 different perspectives of looking at forensic microbiology. One is the application of the principles of forensic science in solving criminal cases that involves the use of microorganisms, either a biocrime or a bioterrorism attack, or even use of microorganisms as a biowarfare weapon. Another perspective, a much more newer perspective, is the application of the principles of microbiology in solving cases of forensic science significance. So in today's lecture, I would like to look at what are the practices that are followed as of today, what are the innovations that are currently happening in the particular field with respect to the 2 perspectives.
Ma'am, I request you to complete your session in like 10 to 15 minutes. Will that be possible?
Yes, I will quickly do that, yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, so in order to understand the innovations that are needed or that are currently happening in the field of forensic microbiology, there are 2 concepts that we need to gain a thorough understanding on. The fact that microorganisms can be used as a potential threat or are a potential threat, and at the same time, the very same microorganisms can be used as important tools and evidences. Microorganisms as a potential threat, it is important for us to understand what are the parameters that mark it as a potential threat. Only then we will be able to bring in innovations in the particular field. So the first and foremost reason is that they are microscopic, hence they are very difficult to be detected. They are diverse in nature, so each microorganism is different from each other, therefore they exhibit different characteristics. There are millions and millions of microorganisms that are present. There are newer forms that are evolving every time as well. So it becomes, again, the identification becomes difficult. And most of these microorganisms that are known to us are pathogenic, with, of course, differing virulence. Hence, they become a threat. They are a potential weapon for biowarfare. They can be easily manipulated, Now, they can be easily manipulated in a lab, as is the accusation with COVID-19. At the same time, they get easily manipulated in the natural conditions as well. So either way, they can undergo evolutionary process, thereby creating more diverse species or substrains of a particular species. They are easily transmissible. This, in the present scenario of COVID-19, I think this has been very, very evidently exhibited. And one of the major reasons why a microorganism gets used as a biowarfare weapon or a bioterrorism weapon is because it is easily transmissible. And only those microorganisms that are easily transmissible get selected for the same. And most of the times, the entire organism or the living organism itself is not needed. Just the potent chemicals that they produce are very much enough for in order to realize it as a biowarfare weapon. Now, at the same time, although there's a threat that they can be used as a weapon, they are also valuable tools as ancillary evidences, for the reasons that they are omnipresent. They are present in every part of the environment, aquatic, terrestrial, as well as aerial. They are diverse and unique, so each organism or each species or each strain is different from each other. Therefore, their identification there is a lot of scope for innovation and tools for their identification. And most of the times, they also act as bioindicators. Thereby indicating the presence or absence of certain substances, or the presence or absence of certain toxins and other substances. So these are the reasons why microorganisms are valuable to us. Now, if you look at both from the forensic science scenario as well as the application of microorganisms in solving criminal cases, the major emphasis is on their identification. So they can be used for those two purposes only if they are identified correctly. They are identified with a certain ease, and at the same time they are identified rapidly. If you recall the way COVID-19 infections kind of manifested itself, the loss of so much of livelihood all over the world, or so much of human resources all over the world was, one of the reasons to that was the fact that the diagnostics took, for the diagnostics to be designed, it took a certain time. It certainly took a certain time to identify and realize the treatment process. So this is where, the significance of forensic microbiology and the innovations in the field actually come into action. So let's very briefly look at what are the present practices, and from there on move on to the current innovations. Now, basically, by the traditional methods, the microorganisms are identified based on their morphological features. It can be both macroscopic and microscopic in nature. These are some of the pictures from a study happening in my lab. So they can be identified based on colony characteristics or under the microscope, that is by their staining properties. So just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, or by their staining properties, and I don't think any of us need any insight into that. All of us are aware of it. Now, another way of detecting, traditionally the type of microorganism or the species of microorganism is by a series of biochemical assays. Okay, these are borrowed pictures from various sources on the internet. So again, based on each microorganism is unique on its owing to its different metabolic pathways, the different kinds of metabolites produced by it. So you have a series of such biochemical assays that help us in differentiating the one species of microorganism from the other. This is again something that is not new to us. You have a lot of serological and immunological assays and kits available in the market today. One such good example is that of detecting the presence of aflatoxin, which is a potent toxin that is produced by a group of fungi, okay, which can be added as a contaminant, hence a potent threat to human beings. So such kits are available, which are based on the presence of a certain unique antigenic determinants on the surface of the organisms, and also the kind of immune response that they elicit in the host. The latest advancements in the traditional methods include the nucleic acid techniques, which includes DNA profiling. I think all of us, especially from the forensic science background, are aware of the various DNA profiling techniques. You have short genome sequencing and, of course, the microarray analysis. So all these techniques help us in identifying or narrowing down on the species or the strain of microorganism, which is very important when dealing with a bioterror threat or a biowarfare weapon. Only then, only after the identification of the organism in question can we further proceed into finding a solution, or finding how to, initiating the thought process on how to combat the epidemiology of the bacteria or the fungi or the virus. Now, there is one major disadvantage when it comes to all these traditional techniques. It's that they are time consuming, they are not very sensitive, and they're not very specific. There can be cross reactions even in serological tests. They can be false positives, or they are cumbersome, especially in case of nucleic acid techniques. Okay, they are, although they are a promising technology, a piece of technique, they can be a little cumbersome in carrying it out. And it takes at least a few days time, at least 2 to 4 days time in order for the results to be produced. So that is where the recent advancements comes in picture, or the innovations in the field of forensic microbiology comes into picture. This is, one of the major studies that is going on in the field of forensic microbiology, called as microbial profiling. Microbial profiling, in short, means identifying and characterizing the different microorganisms that can be present at given the scenario, in different scenario. So at present, there is a study going on to understand what is a microbiome as in relation to toxicology. So for example, if there is a drug overdose, is there a change or is there a succession in the microflora of a living system? There is also a study, pertaining to understanding the thanatomicrobial and the epinecrotic microbial profile to determine the post-mortem interval. Certainly, as we all understand, when decomposition sets in, the microorganisms have a big role to play in the decomposition. So there is a succession of microorganisms that becomes visible from the time of death, from the time of onset of decomposition to the varying times, of identification of the decomposing body. So that an understanding of such microbial profile will help us understand what is a post-mortem interval. It can also be used to identify the place of death. Just like how diatoms are used or pollen grains are used. In the same manner, understanding the soil and aquatic profile of the local region where the cadaver was identified, or where the dead body was identified, or where the dumped body was identified, you can, as in comparison to the local terrestrial or aquatic profile, we can certainly identify the place of death. It also helps us in individualizing suspects, especially in case of sexual assault, with the help of the organisms that are sexually transmitted. Microbial profiling can also be used to understand the time since deposition of body fluids. I would like to take your attention to the particular study that is right now going on in the laboratory at the Department of Forensic Sciences, deemed to be university, where we are trying to elucidate the change in the microbial profile on blood, on spilled blood, for a certain period of time. Although the study is not complete, thanks to COVID-19, but we have certainly found that with increasing exposure, or with increasing time since deposition, there has been a considerable drop in the microbial profile, so which can be used as a parameter to understand the time since deposition of a body fluid. So we work with blood, so similar studies can be carried out and is probably going on in other body fluids as well. So that brings us to the advanced analytical techniques. Analytical techniques like mass spectrometry has always been proved useful in identifying organisms based on their biochemical properties, identifying organisms based on the presence or absence of a certain biomolecules in them. Today, the analytical techniques have been improvised so much that the entire organism or the entire species of an organism can be identified using these analytical techniques. Few of them are capillary electrophoretic techniques. Another one is Malditoff mass spectrometry and hyphenated methods. So these are the examples. So this is the example of capillary electrophoresis technique applied to identify and differentiate between different organisms. So as you can see here, there are different organisms that can be differentiated based on application of capillary electrophoresis. This is, as Dr. Arun Sharma sir said, the emphasis on a combination of different techniques, different separation techniques, different detection techniques and identification techniques, using a common interface. And these group of techniques are called as hyphenated methods, where a combination of such techniques are used in order to help us identify a complete organism or species identification. Malditoff mass spectrometry is another example. Now, the advantage of a Malditoff mass spectrometry is that it can help us in identifying 96 different species at a given time, 96 different species of organisms or of a particular organism in just 25 minutes, as compared to molecular techniques, morphological techniques, biochemical analysis, even molecular techniques, the number of days required is more. So this in less than 2 days, for the complete process to occur, in less than 2 days, the entire 96 different species of an organism can be identified. So based on the principles of ionization and time of flight mass spectrometry. This is an example where different organisms have been identified based on their antimicrobial resistance. So this is the profile of a Malditoff mass spectrometry profile of a sensitive organism to a particular antibiotic. This is the spectrograph of organism that is resistant. Okay, the beauty of this technique is that a change in their antimicrobial resistance profile because of processes like mutation that are naturally happening in the environment can also be identified with the help of this particular technique. Okay, so that kind of emphasizes on the beauty of application of such techniques in the field. We have all been used to genome sequencing. Again, as Arun Sharma sir said, there is a big emphasis on the requirement or on the application of massive parallel sequencing in today's world with respect to forensic microbiology. So the advantage here is that, by traditional sequencing methods or molecular techniques, you have short fragments of DNA that are getting sequenced, and then you need to align them. So there is a lot of chances for errors being incorporated during that time, and at the same time, it is not a sensitive method, and also it is cumbersome. But with with massive parallel sequencing, you can have one entire DNA molecule being sequenced in a given shot, and therefore it saves on time and it is more accurate with lesser errors being incorporated, and you have the entire genome being sequenced in a very short span of time. This is another emerging tool, so to say, in forensic microbiology, where application of nanoparticles and microfluidics in diagnostics is of great significance today. From the forensic microbiology perspective, there is a greater need for biosurveillance. It can be, today, even in a country like India, there is a surveillance happening at the border where people can move in or out only after they have tested negative for COVID-19. So it is a very sad story that we have opted for such surveillance systems only after the occurrence of a pandemic, and hopefully there are going to be more and more stricter rules and regulations with respect to that. But one of the drawbacks with such surveillance systems is that the cumbersome process, the cumbersome technology that we need to carry, which cannot be positioned at such railway stations or airports and places like that. The same technology or the innovations that we just looked a few slides ahead, if we can convert that into a nanotechnology, and devise, equipments that is easily transportable, that is easily handleable, that can be easily handled, and which does not require a lot of expertise in kind of trying to understand how that works, will be a game changer, so to say, in the field of forensic microbiology. And I think in country like India, there is a very, very dire need for the development of such nano diagnostic tools. Okay, so these can be used for identifying organisms either based on biochemicals or the unique biomolecules that those organisms possesses, or even we can devise nano tools for identifying species of pathogens that are potential threat to the country. So this is a small gist of the innovations in the field of forensic microbiology. The references. I would like to place on record my sincere gratitude to the organizers of the National Summit for giving me this wonderful opportunity, the participants of the summit for their patient hearing, the management of Jain Deemed to be University, Dr. Asha Rajiv, Director School of Sciences, Jain Deemed to be University, for the wonderful support and encouragement, my colleagues, Mr. Peter Kiran, Ms. Gloria, and Ms. Ashwati for suggestions, and my students for enabling me with the lab work.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. So that was really well presented and a well informative talk. And you helped us see a different perspective, because which is this condition, it's high relevance because of this pandemic situation, and we have all seen that what a single microbe can do to human beings.
Yes.
And I wish all the best for your ongoing project, and I hope it will be contributing to our society for the well-being of the people.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if participants are having any doubts, you can put the questions in the chat box.
Can I receive the questions?
Ma'am, I've requested.
Sorry?
I've requested to put in the chat box, but
a couple of questions. Do I address it now, or?
I think, ma'am, it will be better. We'll mail to you. So
okay.
I think it will be better.
Yeah, I think we are running short of time. So yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So that's it. So, and I request every participant, you can note down the points, and if you have any queries, you can currently update in the chat box so that it will be easy for the speakers as well. So moving on to our next speaker, here we have Dr. Bhupesh Kumar Sharma, Associate Professor and Forensic Science Freelance Forensic Expert. He has an experience of over 15 years in teaching and research in forensic science and related areas. He has worked as an associate professor and program leader in forensic science at Amity University, Dubai for 9 years, and at Amity University, Noida for 6 years. And he has many research papers published in various peer-reviewed journals of repute, and has filed 3 patents in the areas of crime scene investigation. And his topic for today is forensics in our daily lives. Yesterday, we have already saw that recent trends in forensic, and now we are gonna learn how we can use it in our daily life. So without any further delay, I would like to welcome Dr. Bhupesh Kumar Sharma to this platform. Welcome, sir. Sir, it's not audible, sir. We can't hear you, sir. Can you just log out and sign in again? Can you hear me, sir? So we'll be joining in a minute because of this technical issue. Sorry for the inconvenience. Meanwhile, if Reena ma'am is available, I think you can ask answer a query. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So someone has asked a question. To what extent do you think microorganism surveillance work in a country like India?
Yeah, so it all depends on policymakers.
Can you hear me now?
Sir, can you give us a moment, please?
Yeah, please.
And continue.
Yes, I was saying, it all depends on policymakers and the government, to ensure that there are such biosurveillance, protocols established at every such, border or, airports and railway stations. And make the rules a little more stricter, for example, if you have to go even to America for an education purpose, there is a series of screening tests that we need to undergo, and there is a series of vaccinations that we need to take up. So, if the government of India can also insist on certain policies like that, then I think, we should be able to control that as well. Yeah.
Miss Anju ma'am, you are on mute.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I hope the government will be looking into it very soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I would like to invite Dr. Bhupesh Kumar, sir. So please unmute yourself.
So now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I have logged in from the different ID. And first of all, I would like to thank the JEX Foundation and SIFS to bring, all the eminent scientists and all the people, all these people, say, who can contribute a lot to the society or in the community of forensic science. So very, say, many congratulations to JEX Foundation and all the organizers and organization team. So, and to be with the eminent scientists like Arun Sharma ji and Pathak ji and all. So I would like to present here my, share the screen now. Just hold on for a minute. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. It's up good.
Okay, thank you. So my today's topic is, forensic in our daily life. What happens actually? Why I have chosen this topic, because many of the students in forensic science who have joined us now in this say summit, we all have a dilemma that forensic is only applicable in the murder cases or whenever there is a crime. So what we are using right now, say currently from the past so many years, from the past 30 plus years, is the reactive forensics. Recently, within last few years, we have came into the proactive forensic. So my presentation is more in regards to the proactive forensic, that how the student can make their career in the proactive forensic as well. And in the past 15 years, I have seen, when I have guided so many students to work in these areas, and they have got very good job options in these areas as well. So let us understand, first of all, what is proactive forensic and what I'm talking about, where we use forensic in our daily life. We all use forensic in our daily life, so I would not like to go in much details about this slide because we have limited time. So forensic science is all about how we can link a crime with the criminal on the basis of the evidences, and evidences are encountered at the uh, at the crime scene. Now here, what is the glitch? What is the problem which is happening right now? Most of the time, the crime scene in nowadays is a very small 6-inch mobile screen or a laptop. So here comes the problem. So we, because most of the crime, whether it is now, we are recently seeing the suspicious death of Sushant Singh Rajput, or whatever is happening in the drug peddling, and also crime scene is concise to 6-inch mobile screen, and everything is there. So it is very hard to find. So people are having more and more opportunities in these areas where they need to look for the mobile forensics as well as the cyber forensics. Though the traditional forensic is also applicable, but in these recent cases, we have seen that how actually, due to the mishap, or due to whatever the involvement level of the people is, so we can lose the evidences at any point of time. So we need to be very careful with the electronic evidence as well. And if you look at, I'll go to my next slide. We know all these principles, that on what basic principles the forensic science is based upon: law of individuality, exchange, progressive change, and law of probability. So all these are the things. Now, our main work as a forensic scientist is to identify, first of all, has a crime been committed. Now this bears the main thing, or the main questions and the answers. Has the crime been committed means you visited a crime scene, whether that crime scene is genuine or fake. First of all, the thing is that if it is genuine, if it is a crime scene, if it is genuine, whether actually there has been a crime. Somebody may lit fire in his own house, or deliberately caused arson to get the fake insurance claim, or to get the fake theft insurance claim. So whether there has been a crime or not. Now, if it is a crime, now whatever the nature of the crime is, suicidal, homicidal, if homicidal, what type. So this is to establish the corpus delicti. So, and then how and when was the crime committed, means the modus operandi, because the punishment or the law regulates on the basis of the modus operandi. I think most of the dignitaries will agree with me on this, that the modus operandi, whether through the reconstruction of the crime scene or whatever, it has to be established to identify the way of crime, so that the appropriate punishment, or at least the appropriate justice can be given to the parties involved, the victim parties. Okay, and who committed the crime means the identification of the criminal. So let us move ahead now. Let us see where we see forensic in our daily life. It begins from our driving car. We all use nowadays, keyless entry. A keyless entry is a point of forensic science. So you are having a keyless entry, you push the button and the car lock or the car door opens up. It is an area of proactive forensic, means they have doubly secure your car, that nobody can cheat you, or nobody can steal your car. But there are certain lacunas which I will be discussing in further presentation. But let us assume that we have started our day and we are going to office or we are going to college. So it begins within our car, and then we park our car through different toll gates. So there are RFID systems where the toll gates opens up automatically. So there are also an element of forensic. Why I'm telling you all these students, you all have the bright future, a very good career in all these niche areas which have recently developed, but nobody is looking at this part of forensic. Many other people, biometric people, and those who are doing all these manufacturing, they are looking into this, but the forensic scientists have also to look for the opportunities in such areas. And then when we reaches to office or we reaches to college, we apply for the attendance, whether it is a biometric attendance through our fingerprint, whether it is iris identification attendance or face recognition attendance. And although, we use in our mobile phones also, whatever, and within the marketplaces also, I'll let you know that where in marketplace we use the forensic science. And mobile phones, as you know, all mobile phone screen are with the face recognition right now, or the fingerprint system, or even the pin code. All this is the proactive forensic. And ATM pins, password logins, or everything is there. But what is happening right now, most of the students are only looking to make their career in the forensic science labs either, or they are going towards, as a freelance forensic expert, but they are not looking, they are having a lot of opportunities in all these multinational companies as well, those who manufacture such devices, or in the banks and insurance sectors also. So they should look for these areas as well. So let us assume when we go to a grocery shop, or when we go to buy a vegetable or something, even our mom or even our grandmother used to apply the forensic there. They used to smell the thing, and what they're smelling, whether the vegetable or the fruit is fresh or not. It is also a kind of forensic science that they have used. So we apply daily, but we do not recognize, we do not realize where we are applying, and we see the expiry dates of the medicines. It is also a kind of forensic science that we are applying, and let us see one of the example. Why everybody is an investigator, and we have seen in all these, whenever there is a news which is running on the news channel, or you take the social media, the Twitter account or whatever, everybody is putting their theory over the case of whether it is Hathras case, Sushant Singh case, or whether it is Riya Chakrabarti or whosoever. So they are putting their hypothesis. So everybody is an investigator here. So whether you have received a suspicious email, message, or note, or a letter, or whatever, so you apply your forensic science there. And whether you found a dent or a scratch on your car, what you do first? Let's say I woke up in the morning and I suddenly found a deep dent or a scratch on my car. I will try to look that what that have caused this scratch or that dent. So I'm applying forensic science. It is the same as the road accident investigation or whatever, though I'm applying on a small scale. But yes, it is a area of forensic science which I have been applying. So everybody sitting here or around the world is an investigator in himself or herself. And then, yeah, so number third is quite suspicious when our spouse came early or late from the work. So let's say my wife came early from the work. So then I will be having a question that why she came early. Okay, so I would not like to comment here. And if she or he is late, then definitely again the application of forensic science, own investigation science is there. And more often we receive, so many emails, messages that we have won so and so prize, means the phishing and so hacking is on prime. And then we try to apply from where we have received these messages, these kind of messages and all. Okay, checking the expiry date of medicine. Now I would like to show you an example here. Now see this example, what has happened. I don't want to name the country, but mostly it can happen in the great countries like ours. I think Shraddha is calling me. Yes, Shraddha? Yeah. Yeah, I'll finish it. So that's sure. So as you can see, the manufacturing date is 2017 and the expiry date is 2014. So what happened here? It's another type of crime. It is a big crime. It is a big crime actually, which is a very big problem. Now we have talked about the remote keyless system, the remote keyless system when we enter into a car and all. So please, student, please do look, try to identify that how these things work, how the enrollment of the key system work, and how the rolling code and everything work. I would like to just give you an example here. Can you steal a keyless entry car? Yes, thefts are happening, and that's why we require the forensic expert to identify that how it has happened and who have done it. So there is a long process, but I would like to explain with you an example here, that there is a thief 1 and thief 2. So what is happening here? It is the first, the thief transmit pings the car logging system impersonating the key. So there are two systems. The key is in the premises, and there is another, uh, the cloner is there, which will clone the key and which will further transfer the data uh, to the other person. And then with the help of a mobile app, a malicious mobile app or a software, he will open the key and then they can drive the car through. So yes, this can happen. So what is the crime scene here? Though the crime scene is completely the premises as well, because the car has been stolen from the premises, but these mobile and everything becomes the crime scene or the corpus delicti, the part of crime. Then we use forensic and fingerprints, biometrics, and the voice print analysis, the signature, digital signature analysis is now at the peak. You must have heard about different software, and the facial recognition, we all know. Then the vein pattern, the complete hand vein pattern is there. You need to put your palm over a surface and then it will recognize your vein pattern. And it is more advanced even than the fingerprint biometric. There are instances where the fingerprint biometric have been cheated, but it is very difficult to cheat the vein pattern, because you can't change your vein pattern at once. But there are very smart people who can do all these things also. So I'll not go in detail. So it works, biometric attendance system, it works on the basis of the enrollment system. And then after the enrollment, it verifies with the help of the binary digits. So with our fingerprints, there are minutiae or the individual characteristics. So they make a coded form of the minutiae or the fingerprint characteristic features, individual characteristic like bifurcation, trifurcation, and all, and they create a pattern, and that is the verification which happens. So there are systems which can verify up to 40,000 prints per second. Okay, so even if you look at my patents are more in crime scene investigation, the technology or the use of mobile phones or mobile applications in the forensic science. So this we have discussed already. And you can cheat the biometric attendance. Yes, you can do it by molding, you can do it by other methods, by copying and creating other fingerprint. And my students have done a project on this as well. Yes, the fingerprint biometric can be cheated, but if it is more accurate, it read more and more minutiae, then it is very difficult to cheat a biometric pattern. Let's going ahead to whether a mobile fingerprint can be cheated. No, a mobile fingerprint cannot be cheated because it is more accurate even than the biometric. It reads the furrows and the ridges and each and everything. So if no touching of fingerprints, if we have the furrows which will not touch the fingerprints, so these are the areas which are actually recognized by the mobile forensic system or the mobile biometric system. So nobody can cheat this very easily. So it is much more secure. Then we know the CCTV camera is used for so many purposes, for safety and for shoplifting and everything. And I have seen, can you cheat a the CCTV camera? Yes, we can even cheat a CCTV camera with the help of IR LED lamp. I'll show you the example. Then there are the cam jammers which can be used. So most of the forensic is required here. So there is a vast need. There's a big need, huge need of forensic science expert in these area to identify if any lacuna or anything has happened in this thing. So there is a person who is wearing a IR LED hat, and the person cannot be recognized or the face cannot be seen under the CCTV camera. And these are very cheap, chips or something which is readily available on Amazon. So you can buy them and you can cheat a CCTV camera. Then the cam jammers are also there. And then we use the full body scanners. One of the patent is in the area of the body scanning system as well. So yes, I would like to say to the viewers that you can have a great opportunity in these areas as well. So please try to look into these areas. And there are different types of body scanners. And then get pattern. We can identify a person easily by his walking style. And there are many researches still going on onto the get pattern, which is the time uh, as per the length of the step width, step length, and all. So you can do much more research in these areas. And with this,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
very
Actually,
much.
sir,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that time is limited, so I'd like to conclude.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I do agree with this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So that was really an enlightening talk. As you said, we use when people say forensic, most of us will be first thinking about the crime, suicide, and anything. So now you have showed us forensic is more about, excuse me, more about that, and especially in individual identification. And I agree that the idea of forensic science in daily life will help us from not being fooled in the real life situations, whether it is in market or whenever we go outside. So now on, we'll all be aware about that. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing these things with us. Okay, so that's it. So moving on, we'll go for the next speaker. Many of us got inspiration to know and learn about this forensic sciences and crime investigation from some of the Netflix series, movies, CBI, FBI terms and all. As ma'am was explaining yesterday, I remember. So, but if you have noticed, yesterday Anuja ma'am was telling us about the expectation versus reality situation in this area. So let's check what's the status of our country right now in the field of forensic. And I would like to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Akhilesh Pathak, to speak on the topic current scenarios of forensic science in India.
itu koy orang ni
Anju.
orang ini hangara
Dr. Akhilesh Pathak is the head of the Forensic Medicine and Toxicology Department, AIMS, and have a total teaching experience of 20 years, mostly in the government of Gujarat. He's publishing an indexed international journal, IRPMS, in capacity of editor-in-chief, and he has also published a book, Practical Record Book of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology. He currently holds the position of chairman in many committees in AIMS, Patinta, and he's also a member of Ethic Committee and coordinator of Medical Education Unit, AIMS, Patinta. So I would like to welcome you, sir, Dr. Akhilesh Pathak.
Thank you, Anju.
Thank you so much, sir.
Am I audible?
It's less audible. We can hear you, but it will be better if you can raise your volume.
Okay. Am I audible right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good morning, dear friends. First of all, I would like to congratulate JEX Foundation to organize such a wonderful conference to inspire all of us. The first day of the conference was very good, and we have seen that all these speakers were eminent and having the highly experienced and share their knowledge and expertise in their field. My topic for today's presentation is current scenario of forensic science in India. And here are the learning objects. The first learning object of this presentation is what is the current scenario of forensic science in India? What the data says about it? Where is the maximum need of forensic experts? Why there is demand and supply gap in recruitment of forensic science experts in India? And what we can do for the improvement of the current scenario in India. So what is the current scenario of forensic science in India? Guys, I am having around 20 years of experience in forensic medicine and toxicology, and most of my work is related with the autopsy examination of different type of cases. But here I am going to talk regarding a different topic, that is the current scenario of forensic science in India, especially from the perspective of young aspirants who are enthusiastic and want to train themselves and deliver the best in their field. But how and where they can do this? So as we all know, there are few major areas for the job for the forensic science experts. First is as we all know that these young forensic science experts, they can be recruited in the forensic science laboratories. Then in various investigative agencies like police, CID, CBI, Narcotics Control Bureau, etc. And definitely in field of cybercrime, in different private companies for the protection of their data against the different type of cyber crimes. As we all know that the police is the major investigating agency in India, but simultaneously they are having very poor knowledge regarding the collection and preservation of evidence from scene of the crime, and it further hampers the work of forensic science laboratory and judiciary. So as we can see that there may be the different reasons for that, but the common reasons, whatever I have seen and whatever I have noticed during my practice of forensic medicine, that forensic science team is only available in the city areas, major city areas, and you can see that only 1 or 2 persons are available to cover all the areas of the forensic science. So I would like to quote the one slide of Dr. Aman, who told that the 24 घंटे बारिश में लटका रहा शव FS लगाने पर उतारा. So Dr. Aman has showed that there is a paucity of the forensic team in various areas to handle the different type of crimes, and people cannot reach on time, and because of there are lots of problems are there. Dr. Aman has also emphasized on the quality of the manpower available at the source. And you can see that to collect the various type of samples, different type of experts are required, but they are not available in the forensic team, and only 1 and 2 persons, they are doing the all kind of the job. So all areas like the fingerprint, DNA, sample collection, blood stain, pattern analysis, they are opening on all kind of the cases of the burns, poisoning, hanging. So they are dealing with only 1 or 2 persons are there to deal with the all kind of the cases. And we can see that the many crimes, since there are so many crimes and so much versatility in the modus operandi of the crime, so even we require more need of skilled and multifaceted forensic specialists in India. Here we can see that if we are not able to collect the proper sample from the scene of crime, if the sample is poor, then no lab can produce the better results. And already the results will be poor quality, and that will create a poor evidence, and finally it will lead to the poor justice or injustice. Sorry. So what this data says now about the forensic science in current scenario, you can see the forensic science, it is a multidisciplinary subject, and with around 50 different subspecialties. There are around 46 different universities and colleges which are offering different master degrees in forensic science in different areas. And around 5,000 students, they are coming out with different type of forensic science degrees and courses in different branches. So on one side, we can say that the more and more students are coming out with the degrees, while on the contrary, if we will study the data of the different areas, then we can see that the posts are lying vacant in the various forensic science laboratories, and there is a huge demand of the forensic science experts in the investigations to improve the current situation and to deliver the right justice. What government is doing here? So somebody can say that it is a job of government to provide the job to the various young aspirants. So the government is also trying to improve the current situation in the India, and already the National Forensic Sciences University Bill 2020 has been passed in Parliament. The central government is also planned to establish 5 more forensic science universities in India, with an idea for the capacity building in the field of forensic science and to promote the research. The bill declares these universities will be of the an institution of national importance, and they will be equal to the other central institutes like AIIMS, IITs, and IIMs. And in the same line, already the Gujarat Forensic Science University and National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science, they have converted into the National Forensic Science University already. So guys, be ready for the different types of jobs in the universities, but you should be competent enough to get a job in these universities. So one side we can see that there is a huge demand of the forensic science expert, and on the other side we can see that a lot of more and more young aspirants, they are coming out with the degrees and training courses. Then where is the gap? Why these guys cannot be absorbed into the mainstream? Why this gap is there? And what can be the possible reason for this? So these things were discussed last year in a conference which was there organized by the Home Ministry for establishing of these all central universities. I was a part of that, and in that a few reasons were discussed, and the majority of the faculty, they were on the point that the majority of the colleges who are giving the degrees of forensic science to the students without any hands-on training, and in the absence of proper training, these students, they are not eligible to clear the examination process as well as the recruitment. The second reason was we found that accreditation agencies, they are not there in India, and hence the mushrooming of unaccredited forensic science colleges are there, which are producing the large numbers of forensic science experts with lack of actual training. So the hands-on training or actual training must be there with the teaching and other facilities. So where is the maximum need of these forensic science experts? If you will go into the foreign countries, you can see that if there is any crime happens at any place, then a forensic team goes to that place, and there are different persons are there in that team, and they do their job. While in India, the scenario is somewhat different. So crime scene investigation is the most important area where the need of a team of forensic science experts is required. The maximum requirement of forensic expert is in police and other investigating departments like CID, CBI, NCB, etc. And here these young forensic aspirants can be absorbed. So these recommendations were found there that the whole forensic team expert or forensic science expert should be available to collect and preserve the various evidence at scene of crime. If the evidences are properly collected and preserved, then only the lab professionals will be able to produce the good results. Otherwise, no. And that will further hamper the administration of justice. So guys, proper collection, proper preservation and dispatch of the sample is the most important thing to get a good result from the forensic science laboratory. And how we can improve the current scenario? The students should have proper knowledge of the particular field with a training in an accredited lab. At the time of recruitment, academic credentials, they should be counted with the practical experience and trainings. And during this discussion, we found that there is a lot of problems in the recruitment rules also. So how it is? If you will go into the police academy and if you will try to find out the recruitment rules of the police, then you can see that only 12 pass in any discipline or equivalent person is eligible for a constable post or a constable post. And these guys are finally, they become the forensic science expert. They are after taking some small training in the computer or somewhere. Yes? Okay, okay. Okay, okay. So here the extra mark should be given to a person who is having a degree of forensic science, and his expertise should be taken by the establishment of a complete setup for collection, preservation, and dispatch of the evidence to forensic science laboratories. So recruitment, until unless we are not changing the recruitment rules, then these guys cannot be taken up into the mainstream. Recruitment of forensic science experts in the police department and other investigative agencies, it can create a huge employment to them, but we have to change the recruitment rules in that. In recruitment rules, if you will see in forensic science laboratories also, then also any person from any science stream can apply for the post. There is no extra advantage to forensic science person who are having a degree and a training in that area. So here, where the recommendations are, my recommendations, my recommendation is that there should be a mobile van for forensic experts in each district, which can be helpful in proper sampling and preservation of evidence. And there is an urgent need of accreditation of the all forensic science colleges in India. Hands-on training must be there for the students and experience. The recruitment rules should be changed to accommodate more and more expert hands. And lastly, but I would like to request to the various associations of forensic science that a proper representation to the government should be done to highlight the various issues which are hampering the investigation on one hand, and on the other hand, the system is not able to take the benefits of these young forensic experts. Thanks once again to the organizers of this conference and participants and delegates of National Summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really an insightful talk. So we know that forensic science has become a trend now, and more people, students are joining the course. And we cannot even neglect the fact that there are poor practical training in some areas and in some institutes. So, but I hope the new bill passed on forensic science will give us more opportunities and as well as a platform for already passed out students in forensic science for getting some practical knowledge in this area. So thank you so much, sir, and thank you for your time. Anyone having any queries on this? I hope everyone is clear on your topic, sir. So thank you so much. So let's move on. It's always important for the development of the country to come up with new ideas and researches, especially if it is helping us to achieve goals like sustainable development goals and millennium development goals. And I think forensic is one such area which we can explore a lot. Also, earlier today, Samir Dutt sir has already mentioned we Indians are very good at innovations. So today we have Dr. Ranjit Singh, founder and managing director of Sherlock Institute of Forensic Sciences India Private Limited, speaking on the topic forensic science development and innovations. Dr. Ranjit Kumar Singh has more than 12 years of experience in the field of forensic sciences, and he has vast knowledge and experience in his arena of expertise, especially in the areas of fingerprint and question documents. Dr. Singh is a founder and managing director of SIFS India Private Limited, one of the very few private companies providing forensic science services. He has many national and international papers as well as book published on his name. He has also provided with numerous legal reports for Honorable Court, Delhi Police, UP Police, and many other governmental organizations and law enforcement agencies. It's an honor to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Anju.
Thank you so much, sir. Welcome.
So let me. Thank you, one and all. And thank you, JAX Foundation, for providing the opportunity. Thank you, Anju. Thank you, Shraddha Banerjee, for giving opportunity and connecting a lot of scientists for sharing their thoughts and discussing a different platform in this National Summit 2020. And the theme of this summit is Innovation in Forensic Era. Basically, the forensic science and its innovation is altogether as about the thinking, and being an innovator and being a scientist, what we require, to follow the actual process of identification, and that identification process leads to the ABCD. In a layman, it's generally ABCD of the forensic investigation. If you know the ABCD, then you can do a good investigation. What does it mean? It means A is a stand for analysis. If you are doing a proper analysis, as Dr. Arun Sharma sir
Claes Pathak sir already explained that what is the importance and what are the things which we are facing and what are the things we are facing in our forensic science laboratory if a proper evidence is not collected. Then a comparison. If comparison is not properly done, as it is already explained that in this innovation era, we require a proper training, we require a good number of equipment hands-on, so comparison is required, and by comparison, even by having a good number of equipment, again, having a good, techniques, good laboratory, your evaluation is depend upon your training and skills, what kind of training and what kind of skills you have. It is very, very important that a training and skills is required. So here in this, if you are a good analyzer, if you are doing a comparison, if you are evaluating the evidence, you should not be biased and your results should not be deviated by any means. Like in the recent, you have seen that there are many allegations on the forensic science reports and there are many allegations on the investigation. We all talk about that police is not well equipped. We all talk about police is not doing a proper investigation. We talk about police is not collecting evidence proper. They are the police officer, they are not the scientific expert. Have we ever tried to train them? Nahi. We never tried to train them, and it's our duty being a forensic professional to give the training to the police officer about the collection of the evidence, because they are the one who is at the scene of crime, and from scene of crime they are collecting the evidence. Well said by Arun Sharma sir that people have the faith in the forensic. They have a good faith in the forensic. Even in the recent case, a very sensational case of our country, versus media debated more than 75 days. They they have the eye on the forensic expert. So yes, society has a faith in the forensic science. So our duty being a forensic professional is required that we should not be biased and our results should not be deviated by if you are not properly trained. What is required being a good innovator? So you require a keen eye, you look at evidence in a way that you can solve, like Dr. Bhupesh explained, a different kind of new scenario, new crime. Even in corporate investigation, we are finding a different kind of issues, challenges that are breach cases. So for that, we require a good analytical skill and investigation mind. Investigative mind is very, very important, because sometimes when the police called that this case is not solved by us because it's a complex crime, or sometimes they call it's a simple crime. So what is a complex crime and what is a simple crime? So as per my definition, there is no difference between the complex crime and the simple crime. Complex crime where the investigative mind of investigator is not fully used, and the simple crime is a crime where the mind of criminal is not fully used. Both communication is very, very important, because at the end of the day, after the analysis, after the investigation, you have to present these evidences into the court of law, and for that you require a good written and the verbal communication. As it is already told that report should have a explanatory, a self-speaking should be. Presence of mind is very, very important, that why these kind of questions are asked. Listening skill, sometimes people have a very less listening skill in our forensic science. They are not open about that what kind of technique can be done and what kind of technique cannot be done. And being a forensic innovator, you should be imaginative. You can imagine anything, and it is very, very important once you are very imaginative. By being imaginative, you can approach, you can propose your ideas to your seniors, your investigator, your law enforcement agencies, and at every platform. Because it's either it's any field, you just consider any field, either it's a question document, fingerprint, cyber forensics, any field you consider, you require a crime, different kind of crime is increasing, and the commitment is not in a normal way, it is in a very different way. First generation things are not reaching to the forensic science laboratories. It's very important that forensic science students reach to the forensic science laboratory. That is a one issue which is raised by many students group, which is very, very important. That once you will get opportunity, only you can be imaginative, only you can be a good skills person, only you can put your investigative mind. By sitting in the Your home by having a master degree cannot be imaginative. You require to provide the opportunity. And it's a duty of all the esteemed speaker and the higher authority, those who are listening these things, they should give the equal and even the more opportunity to forensic sciences students, because they have invested their time, their education, their everything for the forensics. And forensics, they want to serve the society. So equal opportunity is very, very important to give all the students. Why forensic science is more important and why society and the courts have the faith in us? Because it's a reliable, it's a believable, whatever the things we are showing in the court of law, courts should believe on us. They are very much dependent on the forensic analysis. Evidences are admissible without having any, if the proper scientific parameter is followed and accepted by the scientific community. It's very important that the guidelines should be, whatever the analysis examiner or the expert have done, admissible by the scientific authority. Authenticate, these evidences authenticate that either this is a crime committed or this evidence having an importance or not, because in this Silicon era, we have provide the complete details, and this complete details we require to follow that evidence should be reliable and admissible for, so that court can make a decision. It is very, very important. At the end of the day, we all have to face the cross-examination being an expert witness. And the issue is that we always believe that our answer can be yes, or it can be a no. No, it is not always yes or no. Being an expert, it is our duty to train our students, to train our colleague that you should not give always answer in yes or no, because you should learn the degree of opinion, what the degree of opinion can be done, what the degree of different 9 degree of opinion which is set by the different scientific community. Can be identification, can be a highly probable, can be a probable, cannot be a probable did not, and there is no necessary to always form opinion. If evidence which you have received from the scene of crime, it is not adequate, it is not sufficient to form an opinion. You being an expert, you should form your opinion as a no opinion. So this is a very, very important things that we require to discuss in this. And we should make awareness of the forensic, because here you can see the bank manager, how they write the spelling of forensic. They are not aware, those who are dealing with several kind of money transactions, there are several financial frauds. And if they are not aware about the forensics, you can see the result, how they will understand the importance of these particular field, which is playing a very important role. And it is very, very important to understand the things. So with this, it's very important that students should be innovative, students should learn the things, they should know the law behind the things, because forensic with law will never flaw. If you know the law, if you know the evidence value, if you know how to present, it is very, very important that you represent whatever the opinion you have formed along with their legal implications. You should study the law also, apart from the scientific parameters. So with this, it's very important that how we are, representing the things. If we are representing the things in a very proper way, only this can be a very, very important, and this can be a useful for the future generation. In the present scenario, we all are having issues related to the digital forensic, and digital forensics. For that, we require a proper training. Where we are lacking, we always say that this kind of things are required, these kind of things are required, these analyses are required. But are we training our students sufficient? Are we giving a proper training in our colleges? No, we are not giving a proper training. So it's a duty of being a professional, being a teacher, being a trainer, being a forensic science laboratory. We should give equal opportunity to the students, so that students can learn more and more about the subject things, right? So with this, as we are lacking, we have the less time, and we already passed the time. I will give message here. Try to learn more and more. There is no competition in forensic science. Your competition is with you only. Whatever the things you have learned earlier, you should improve yourselves. Thank you, Anju. Thank you, Namita. Thank you, Shraddha, for giving me opportunity to speak on this platform. Thank you all the audience for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really an inspiring talk. And at this moment, I want to remind all the participants that being a forensic expert is not such a simple job. You should train your mind well, develop analytical skills, and moreover, you should keep your integrity without being biased. So if you do so, I hope opportunities will come to you. And I highly appreciate your efforts, sir, for coming up with such an initiative and supporting JAX Foundation. Uh, Thank you so much. And there is a question raised by one of our participants regarding the unemployment issues. So will you be able to answer few queries regarding that?
See, the unemployment, if you are just thinking about that, you want to be an employee in the forensic science laboratory, you all cannot be employed in the forensic science laboratory. You have to be a very innovative, because this, the theme of this summit is innovation. And being an innovative is very important, that you should explore a different area. Just go and explore in the corporate. Corporate, they are facing lots of issues with the data breach. They are facing lots of issues with the cyber security. You go and explore. You go into the grievance department of the insurance company. You go into the risk management and control unit, RMC unit. They require people like you. But if you have just only a dream that you want to work in the forensic science laboratory, sorry, there is a very less vacancies. And forensic science laboratories in a government in India, we do not have more than 5% government jobs. So what a 95% student will do? They have to make. Do we have any government job for the lawyers? No, they all are practicing. You all can go and explore. You have a good opportunity, and you can get guidance from the different advocates. You just go and learn. Just go and learn the things, because proper training is very, very important. Yes, as far as the job issue is concerned, forensic science laboratory should give the equal opportunity to the forensic science students. It's a very injustice with the students that they are not eligible to fill the form. They are not eligible to fill the form. Being a forensic science student, if you are not eligible, one incident I like to raise here, when Delhi University started their masters in forensic science, and unfortunately those who have the bachelor in forensic science, they are not eligible to get the admission in master in forensic science. So you can see the irony of the ignorance in our country. So ignorance is, if you are not getting a job in the forensic science laboratory, it doesn't mean that you are not serving a forensic science. You can serve a forensic science at any platform. You just connect with the many, police agencies, many IPS officers. They are welcoming. They are, because nowadays IPS officers are not like earlier. Nowadays they are IIT and they are MBBS. If you have the skills and if you want to provide anything which is helpful for them to solving a case, they will take you on the panel. And ultimately, we all are working for the bread and butter. They will provide you amount also.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. But I just want to ask one more suggestion for all the already passed out students. Like there are so many people who have passed out, like they've done their graduation in forensic science and masters in forensic science, and still they are unemployed. So many people, because as you said, there are a lot of irony, because for all the posts of forensic sciences, equally there are other people are getting the opportunity, like for pure science students and everyone. So it's very difficult and it's very competitive in this area. But these people, the students who have already in this field, who have graduated in this area, they are.
I think you have muted yourself.
Okay, sorry. You able to hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was asking for these students, maybe they'll be lacking some of the practical knowledge in the particular area. So since this field, like forensic science, is more related to the government jobs and all, the students are not getting an opportunity to get certain certificates, or because there are no if you want to know about the polygraph, for example, there is no opportunity to learn that skills unless you're getting into a government organization or something. So what do you suggest for those people who are willing to study these things, but they're not getting the opportunity to?
Yes. For that, those who are willing, they should approach to the forensic science laboratory. I know this is very difficult, and it is very difficult that students are not entertained by the forensic science laboratories, because the reason behind that, many forensic science laboratories, they do not have their research and the training department. They are taking students as a normal, and they are working with their staff, a scientific officer or the senior scientific officer. And this is also, for giving opportunity to students on a actual evidence is harmful. It can be a harmful also. So every forensic science laboratory, they must start one training and the research area where they can generate one research training module. They can give opportunity, they can give hands-on practice to the students. Apart from the forensic science laboratory, the institution, those who are offering the MSc and the BSc forensic science university, they should also develop their laboratory, and they should call the stakeholders, they should call the expert, so that expert can explain how the techniques is work. Particularly if you talk about the particular expertise, like as you explain, a polygraphy. Yes, polygraphy is maximum in area where a government laboratory is conducting. Very few private laboratories are conducting the polygraph test. If someone wants to join a polygraphy expertise, they can approach to the private forensic science laboratories. They can approach to our laboratory. We will happy to train the students. They want to training in the question document examination, and they want to do the hands-on practice on ISDA. They want to do the hands-on practice on VSC. They can approach to our laboratory. We are open to train the students. But the problem here also with the students I face in past few years, they want a job on the day one without learning the techniques, without learning the things. So, you require to, first of all, you require to set up your skills. First of all, you require to how you can handle the equipments. Lots of jobs are there. I can say lots of jobs are there. But for that, it is very, very important that you should be aware about that, what are the things is required. If you are doing any investigation in the corporate, and as I explained that what is the temperament is required. So investigating skill is very, very important. You imagine what can be done, because in many places we are finding data breach happen, and we are not many students, those who have passed from the forensic science MSc, they are not know about how the network structure work. They cannot draw the network structure. Then how you will do the investigation? For that, you require to learn the technique. You go to any cyber security companies, you go to any private forensic science laboratory, you can go to the government forensic science laboratory and ask them that you are interested, and you show that your interest is up to their mark, then definitely they will get the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I hope that will be helpful for so many of the participants, including me, because I'm also from a forensic background. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
So because of the time limit, we are going to the next speaker. Next speaker is waiting for us. Okay. So I would like to invite the next speaker. Before that, yesterday, I hope everyone present here have attended the session as well. Excuse me, can someone has unmuted themselves? Can you mute? Okay, thank you so much. So yesterday we have learned about many of the psychology aspects, the way human minds work, and how it is helping in criminal investigation and all. And now our next speaker will take us to the future perspective of forensic psychology. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Sharon P. Thomas, Assistant Professor, Jain University, for presenting the topic forensic psychology for years to come. Dr. Sharon Thomas has done her PhD in criminology from the University of Madras, and she's a recipient of Indian Society of Victimology for Best Research Paper Award. She has presented papers in various national and international conferences, seminars, and symposium. She has been an invited speaker at national and international platforms, and a number of research papers adds to her credit. So her area of academic competence are victimology, criminology, terrorism, conflict studies, war crimes, and forensic psychology. She is also an entrepreneur, and she is giving back to the society by associating the number of NGOs and support the local artisans and less privileged groups. So I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Anju. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, yes.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Anju, for this beautiful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I am more than happy to have given this opportunity to talk on forensic psychology for years to come. Before I start off with the advancement of the field, it is necessary that I ponder on where forensic psychology as a discipline stands now. Forensic psychology was officially recognized as a specialization within psychology by the American Psychological Association in 2001, hardly 20 years back. In simple words, forensic psychology is the application of psychology in legal arena. Though law and psychology are two separate disciplines, they are united by their interest in human behavior. While psychology seeks to understand and explain human behavior, the law seeks to regulate them. Both fields strive to make assumptions about the reason for a particular behavior in human and the preventive measures and copying strategies which can be adopted to change such behavior. Scholars around the world have identified this important overlap between the two distinct fields and is working towards its effectiveness. We can say that the duty of forensic psychologist right now in legal arena is almost limited to the first one. We all know it's assessment of mental condition, which is analyzing the mental condition with regard to the insanity plea, which is mostly or at times the tactic adapted by people to avoid death sentence and imprisonment. The second one is prediction of violence and risk management. Usually determine the violent tendencies in a person. The concept of self-harm and other harm is mainly applied when an accused is imprisoned or he's set free. The third is assessment of child custody in divorce, which is analyzing the mental health of a couple for the custody of a child. And the fourth is a competency to stand a trial. Section 84 of IPC talks about the act of person of unsoundful mind. Here, the capability to stand trial and mental state at the time of the offense is assessed. But the problem lies is that there is two major criticism which hindrance forensic psychology from establishing its place in law. The popular notion that psychology can only render aid in areas like criminal law and family dispute. The second is that we all know law is definite and law requires certainty, but psychology is a science and science cannot be certain. But when you look into the future of forensic psychology as a discipline, one can assure that this particular notion or belief should be broken. It is a fact that as long as law embodies the theories of behavior, the legal doctrine will reflect the basic assumptions of human nature. And hence, we believe, and it's true, that forensic psychology will always remain as an integral part of legal arena. Now we can say that forensic psychology is at a crossroad. Today, the role of psychology in law is expanding and rapidly changing. It is indeed commendable that each of the major psychological subdivisions has contributed to the development on legal issues. When it comes to cognitive aspect, they reflect on eyewitness testimony, developmental aspect in children's testimony, social aspect in explaining more at the time of protest, strikes or dharnas, and clinical aspect in the assessment of competence, biological aspect with the help of polygraph, brain mapping, and an industrial organization identifying employee exploitation, sexual harassment in workplace. In spite of all of this, the legal background of forensic psychology in India, I can say it is insubstantial. Here, an effective, or you can say an effective standard operating procedure has to be enforced in the grassroots level. The forensic psychologist should assist the police in investigation of cases, provide advice while interrogating suspects or witness, work as an expert in witness in the court, conduct research, and so on. But the most effective method, according to me, or according to the studies or the literature around the world, we can say that the most effective method is a role change of a forensic psychologist from a trial consultant to an investigator itself. Because literature shows that psychological application in the way of investigation proves to be more appropriate than conventional and third-degree methods. Forensic psychology must make an effort to respond to current changes which we can see around the world, if it has to be laid or aid in the administration of justice. Right. This was the introduction actually prepared for you people. And here from this, I'll actually discussing about the few methods proven to be effective in crime investigation. The first one is the
Ma'am,
rate technique.
I would like to conclude your talk in like 10 to 15 minutes.
Sure,
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
do that. Yes, don't worry. Yeah, the first one is the rate technique. It involves three components: factual analysis, interviewing, which is also known as behavior analysis, and interrogation. Factual analysis is an inductive approach where each suspect is evaluated with respect to specific observations relating to the crime. Here, other than crime scene analysis, the information learned about a suspect, which is the opportunity and access to commit crime, behavior before and after the crime, suspects' guilt or innocence based on biosocial status, that can be gender, race, occupation, marital status, and evaluation of physical and circumstantial evidence is also carried out. Often factual analysis is misunderstood as criminal profiling, but these two are not same. When it comes to criminal profiling, it is to identify characteristics about the type of person who would commit the crime based on analysis of the crime scene. This is a deductive procedure, which makes general inference from specific observations. It serves more like a guide, we can say, to locate possible suspects. On the other hand, factual analysis is an inductive approach where each individual suspect is evaluated with respect to specific observations relating to the crime. Consequently, factual analysis relies not only on crime scene analysis, but also on information learned about each suspect. For example, I'll say if the crime under investigation appear to be spontaneous and motivation by a real and immediate need. Here we can actually take two factors, which is spontaneous, the other one is immediate need. When the investigation goes on, each suspect would be evaluated with respect to their personality to evaluate these two factors, which is impulsive spontaneous behavior and their motives, which is extent of immediate needs. You can see that here there is in fact a personalized question is catered for each suspect to undergo the investigation. Okay, the second component in the RAIDS technique is behavioral analysis, or popularly known as the interview the technique. It is an non-accusatory question and answer session, which involves both standard investigative questions and structured behavioral provoking questions. In this technique, the investigator first asks background questions to get personal informations about the suspect, and allow the investigator to evaluate the suspect's verbal and non-verbal behavior. That is how a suspect behave in a normal condition. The investigator then asks behavior provoking question intend to elicit different verbal and non-verbal response. The investigator will also ask some questions related to the crime and investigation during the speech. On the other hand, the third way of the third method of way technique is actually interrogation way, which is an accusatory process, which means investigator accuse the suspect of committing a crime. This happens when the investigator is reasonably certain of the suspect's involvement in the issue and is certain about the suspect is guilty. Here, the trick is to give the suspect a feel that he is proven guilty. Maybe he must not have been proven guilty, but that's a trick in the game. And some of the tactics which used are, the first one we can say it is a positive confrontation. Here the investigator tells the suspect that the evidence collected demonstrates that he is guilty and behaves in such a way that the person is guilty. The second one is theme development. Here the investigator present a moral justification, which is popularly known as theme, for the offense, such as placing the moral blame on someone else or outside the circumstances. The investigator present the theme in a monologue usually, and in a sympathetic manner. Here the investigator gives a picture that the blame is truly not on the suspect and there is actually a third party involved, and the drama or the story revolves around the third party. Then comes the third one, which is handling denials. In this stage, the suspect is not given permission to speak and he is denied. This is because a theory says that if an accusation is made on an innocent victim, he is less likely to ask for permission and more likely to deny the accusation promptly and clearly. But a guilty person will seek and wait for the permission of the investigator, and thus the suspect can be revealed. The fourth one is handling the suspect's passive mood. The investigator must procure the suspect's attention so that that suspect focuses on the investigator's theme rather than on their punishment and after effects. The investigator should identify the theme, presentation, and concentrate on the reasons the suspect stating a psychological justification, and continue to display an understanding and sympathetic approach should be there. Urging this sympathetic approach actually urges the suspect to tell the truth. The fifth one is presenting an alternative questions. The investigator should present two choices here in this stage, assuming the suspect's guilt and develop a logical extension from the theme. For example, we can say that the investigator can ask the suspect, did you plan this, or this thing happened all of a sudden, or as part of a movement? Here the suspect will unknowingly choose a more understandable side of the alternative, which can be that he didn't plan the crime, which actually means that it happened all of a sudden, and it was an accident, or even he can deny the statement completely. The sixth one is, it's towards, I mean, in between I have actually cut off to 3 points because I think there'll be a lot of time. So we'll come to the conclusion that is actually the 6th point. Having the suspect orally relate to various details of the offense. See here what actually happens is that after the suspect accepts one side of the alternative, which is he admits that he is guilty, the investigator should immediately respond with a statement of reinforcement acknowledging the admission. The investigator then seeks to obtain brief oral review of the basic events before asking more detailed questions. The studies prove that statistically rates method is more efficient, and with a combination of these 3 elements, it can the accuracy level is higher when compared to independent evaluation taken alone. Okay, with this, we'll go to the second method of investigation, which is Kinesis interview method. It involves analyzing a person's behavior to assess deception and is similar to Ray technique. Kinesis is the word of a study which actually deals with non-verbal communication. During the analysis phase, the interviewer uses several techniques to observe and analyze the subject behavior, which involves orientation, then narration, cross-examination, and resolution. It is said that people are better able to control verbal conversations or verbal cues and than non-verbal kinesis signals, and unconsciously they will give out non-verbal cues to the investigator, which we popularly known as body language. So during the first phase, the investigator gather information and tailor interrogation in those areas most sensitive to the subject. This method is called breaking the cycle of deception. During the interrogation, the negative emotional response given will identify the suspect. The third model, I'm not discussing about the third model. It's actually PEACE model. It's really popular in UK, and PEACE means preparation and planning, engage and explain, account, closure, and evaluate. This actually what happens here is under the PEACE model, investigator allow a suspect to tell his or her story without interruption before presenting the suspect with any contradictions between the story or other evidence. This account of the story is recorded, and this is evaluated to identify the suspect. Okay, with this, I'll come to the conclusion of my talk. The future of forensic psychology is not limited to evidence and investigative process. Forensic psychology provides knowledge about the mental state of accused and witness, and also information about the mental distress the crime has caused. Often, the victims are more affected by psychological harm than physical and financial harm, but the tumult surrounding the crime is often forgotten and never addressed. In the global arena, it has been agreed that psychological harm is equally a crime as physical or economic harm. Hence, the punishment given to the crime should be befitting to the crime. It is very much understood that law is same to everyone and cannot be tailor-made. But the pain and agony caused by the crime and the situations which involve the crime should be addressed. and it's actually not happening in our place, to be frank. But so the next one is the role which forensic psychology plays in the legal system. It should be aimed to modify our criminal justice system and helps in maintaining justice, equity, and good conscience. It's true that no legal system is perfect, but forensic psychology should be a step towards making it less imperfect. Keeping the above points in mind, I have made 4 to 5 recommendations. I'll just make point of it. There should be an effective standard operating procedure and standardized guideline be made in the criminal justice system, which shall suggest where forensic psychology needs to be involved. The second one is forensic psychology can help the lawmaker and the representative in making changes in legislations by providing more accurate information on human perceptions and emotions. The third one is forensic psychology can reduce false confessions and check the veracity of witnesses by adopting psychological models in investigation. And the fourth one is, in order to decrease recidivism, prisons around the country shall have forensic mental health professionals to sustain the path of rehabilitation. And last, the judgment should be pronounced considering the psychological aspect of the accused and victim's mind, which ensures justice in its real meaning. Thank you. Before I wind up, I would like to say that I'll place my sincere thanks to the JAX Foundation, eminent invited speakers, audience for their patience. I also acknowledge my college, my colleagues, and students for all the support, and the Jain deemed to be university for giving me this opportunity to be here today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this valuable knowledge sharing. You can see that how much this area of psychology has advanced and how important it is in coming times. So guys, we have to learn a lot, because these theories and all are very important for creating great foundation. As the previous speaker also told, we have to be very innovative and we have to study and smart to be smart. So thank you for sharing this.
I'll just take 1 second, Anju. I wanted to tell you about it. So students, I just want to tell you one thing. You don't have to worry about job opening or how we're going to sustain. See, I just pass on one knowledge which my professor or my guide actually gave it to me. You excel in what you do. That's what you have to do. There is a lot of competition. There's a lot of competitions. If you are not smart enough, someone will take the job away from you. So you excel in your profession, and there should be no one to beat you. And trust me, job and opportunity will come after. You don't have to go after that. So that's one thing I actually want to tell the young generation. So please do work on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really a good guidance that we can get. Thank you so much. And one student has asked a query, how to choose what kind of interrogation should be used, which type of interrogation we should choose for a particular case.
See, it truly depends on the experience, I will tell you, because once you see the study or once you get the case, you will know what approach should be taken. So that's why I said there is actually behavior analysis, and you do a background study of the case, and you will be able to know which one to choose, because it depends. It's tailor-made. That's what I was talking about. The approach should be tailor-made. Even the law should be tailor-made. If you ask me, that will not happen. So because when it comes to psychology, no person is alike. I am different from you. You're different from your colleague. So tailor-made approach should be always done, and for that you need a proper experience. Yes, I should say that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that was really an insightful talk. So we have few more talks left, and I request all the coming speakers to conclude their talks in 10 to 15 minutes, because we have a constraint of time. Thank you so much. So next topic is really interesting one, because I'll tell you something. Some of you might have put their parents' signature at least once in their life during your school days, right? I'm one among them. So have you ever thought what would have happened if all our teachers were handwriting experts then? Okay, jokes apart. So we have seen so many people forge signature on others for huge money transactions and in many important documents and all. So here is a way to identify them, and to understand more about it, I would like to invite our next speaker, because he's the best person to explain and teach us about handwriting expert like handwriting examination and fingerprint examinations. So I would like to invite Mr. Ashok Kashyap, handwriting and fingerprint experts trained in USA, to talk about examination of question documents. Ashok Kashyap belonged to an illustrious family of forensic handwriting and fingerprint experts, and his office is one of the oldest in India, Asia actually, which is running since 1935. He was blessed with great mentors in his life, starting with his father, Krishnan Kashyap, who was in the profession for like 53 years. And he was also an invitee delegate in 150th anniversary of Royal Microscopical Society in 1989, London, and at the International Conference Orlando, USA in 1983. He's a life member of so many associations, and he's very, like I would say, he's very prestigious for us. And I would like to welcome Sir.
Well, I extend my congratulations to all the organizers and to the institution, including the enlightened speakers who have spared the time to attend this meeting. I shall be very precise, and the topic that I've chosen is that how to find out the defects of forgeries among the different type of wills, because will is a very important legal document. Will is a very important legal document, and before that, I will give some idea about my background also. I've been for 56 years in this profession. I've appeared all over India in about 17 states and done about 5,000 cases of fraud detection. So here I take up especially the cases of wills, how to detect fraud in different type of will cases. Now, the cases of fraud and forgery have been associated with the important documents since days of antiquity long. Important documents in Mughal courts, there has been mention to them, and there has been mention to them in several literature, English literature books also, about the doubtful nature of the signatures, apart from the graphological importance of the persons involved in writing those signatures. Anyway, that's a separate topic, but we will only confine to the forgery area. So wills are an important portion of legal documents, and that too, they are vulnerable to a variety of types of fabrications. I have given so far opinion on hundreds of will cases, and some of them have been relating to Chaudhary Bansilal and Rajmata Gwalior and N.T. Ramarao cases. These are some of the important cases that I have given my opinion on. Now, I take the first example. The paper of the will may contain a thumb impression or a signature on a blank paper. That is not systematically. Sometimes people are duped, and their thumb impressions or signatures are obtained on a blank paper. Subsequently, they are filled up in or typed with and there the defects of interline spacing, interword spacing, alignment, margins, the position of words etc., are to be considered for the purpose of detection of fraud. The aspect of a clear evidence of accommodating the signature is also an important factor which can lead to determination or assessment of the situation in which the fraud might have been committed. The second example is that fingerprints are fraudulently obtained on a paper in good trust. These signatures of the signatures of the witnesses also may be obtained. The document may be filled up, handwritten, or printed over the thumb, sometimes even over the thumb impressions. In such cases, besides the features of alignment, spacing, interword spacing may present interesting evidence and features, including the sequence of strokes, which shall prove that the fingerprints were obtained earlier, much earlier, before having been typed on such document. It is also a strong evidence of commission of fraud. The third instance may be the document may contain a genuine or forged signatures. Some passages might have been obtained on the obliterated or removed with the induction of convenient clauses. So precisely the problem in such cases is that it is alleged by the party that some of the portion or some of the passages they have been obliterated to the convenience of the party doing so, and they were not expected to have been originally the part of the bill. In such cases, we have to search for the evidence of obliteration, physical or chemical, the fonts or the type of the typewriter or the printer used to add subsequent passages with special reference to margin, slope, spacing, the presence of the vestiges of original writing shall also have to be looked for. We have come across some very interesting cases, Xerox copies of wills where it was suspected that the signatures were forged. When we took their photographs, on extensive photography, we found that the documents were tempered, obliterated. Some other writing was available, some other fingerprints were available, of witnesses also, even the executant. But they were not visible to the naked eye on the Xerox copy, which was supplied to us, but intensive investigation showed their presence. So there are wonderful cases where manipulation has been done with will cases. Fourth instances, it is alleged that the same person signed executant signatures as well as the signatures of the witnesses. Sometimes it is alleged that the will contains the signatures, all of them signed by the same person. That is the executant and the witnesses. all those signatures, or all the fingerprints may belong to the same person. So we have to compare all of them intensely to find out whether some of them are similar or dissimilar, or all of them are identical, whether such evidence of fraudulent nature is available or not. These are some of the important examples that I have narrated about the will cases. And apart from that, sometimes if the bill is of 3 or 4 sheets, it is alleged that from some particular portion, some passages are removed. Passages are obliterated, removed, replaced by either typewriter or by computer, or if it is handwritten, it could have been written by this same person. So there we have to make research accordingly and to see how far this claim finds its veracity. So these are some of the interesting cases regarding the will. Thanks, madam. Now I would like to come on very briefly on another topic. It's a very tough nut to crack, you know. We have been dealing with examination of ink problems, examination of ink. The courts have been referring matters to us from various parts of the country for the purpose of determination of age of ink. Now the reality is that it is not possible. It is really not possible to determine or establish the age of ink. But equally, what the equal reality is that sometimes some indications can be found out through diligent and dedicated approach to see whether some symptoms of fraudulent nature are available or not. If we have to understand what is the purpose behind the inquiry of assessment of age of ink, the such inquiry becomes relevant when the party alleges that some portion of the document had been written much earlier, and it is in contravention with the date which has been described on the document. So that is the situation where the court has got to determine whether there is some intervening period between some portions of writings on the check 138 or on wills or on sale deeds or on some important documents. What could be the intervening period between the suspected writings? That is actually the purpose. Or we can say we have to establish whether a particular document has been written in normal course of business or not. Whether the different portions were written at different times or they were written simultaneously. That is again another interpretation of the same problem. The fourth interpretation is to find out precisely some indications of clear-cut forgery in such documents where the skepticism is about the normal execution of the document. So I have, through my dedicated research of 30 to 40 years, found that it is not certainly possible to give any exact idea about the age of ink. But there are certain other factors which will give us a lot of help. For instance, we have to and that is precisely the microscopical examination of the document. You have to see, we have to look for what is the number of inks that has been used in different portions of the documents, either in 138 cases, checks, or on wills or sale deeds or agreements, whatever. That is, what is the exact number of inks? Number one. What is the exact number of pens which have been used in the execution of that document? Number three. How many writers could have been involved? How many writers could have been involved in the execution of that particular document in entirety? That is, which portion has been written by which writer? If an important document like will, like sale deed, like agreement to sell, has been found to be written in more than one ink, in more than one pen, by more than one writer, and if there is any presence of alterations, if there is any presence of erasures, and if there is evidence of contradiction or contravention with regard to sequence of strokes in certain portions, they all raise the doubt that it is a doubtful document. It is not a genuine document. We need not go, certainly, for the assessment of HOP, which I told you that the magical answer is no. Even our forensic labs have been returning them, stating that it is not possible to give opinion. But my humble suggestion is that certain solutions have been found out to prove that a particular document which is related to this problem may be proved to be a bogus and a manipulated document. So, when the court wants to determine the assessment of HOP, because there is some doubt about the execution, it might not have been executed in the same operation, then we can look for all these indications. They provide a very strong and irrefutable evidence of presence of forgery if they can be answered and if such symptoms can be found out, one or all, with regard to inks, with regard to pens, with regard to number of writers, with regard to alterations. Now there was an interesting case which I received from the court, a check 138. I found that in the date there was erasure and there was alteration also. There was erasure and alteration also. So I could think that it is a serious matter. It's a serious matter. Both these things should not coexist. This gives a doubt that there is something fishy about the document. So if you cannot answer this question directly as to assessment of HOP, I hope in a lighter vein it can be certainly answered by some other solutions if we seriously look for them. With this, I will conclude, and I would like to thank the organizers and all the brilliant and august gathering of listeners, as well as those who have delivered the lectures. With their lectures, we have benefited considerably, for which I should thank them all.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really informative and so deep. And I hope this information will be very much useful for forensic students especially. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I am grateful to you and your foundation, and I hope that this participation shall be a frequent affair in future now.
So thank you so much. So now let's move to some other areas of forensics. And I hope you all are enjoying the summit well. So because so many informations in 2 days, right? So let's see what our next speaker has to say. We have here Siddiqui Mohammed Moinuddin, and his topic is documentation of crime scene, forensic photography, and latest advancements. Siddiqui Mohammed is pursuing his PhD in forensic sciences, and he has 2 years of experience in the field of crime scene photography, videography, laboratory photography, and forensic photography from Forensic Science Laboratory, Delhi. And he's currently working in National Forensic Science University as a senior scientific assistant, and also he's teaching MSc Forensic Science and MA Criminology students in forensic photography and crime scene management. So I would like to welcome Siddiqui Mohammed, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Anju. And I really appreciate JAX Foundation for encouraging students as well as all the delegates from India to enhance their knowledge and skills in this summit. I'm audible, Ms.
Yes,
Anju?
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, I would like to present on my topic. Anju, can you able to see the presentation?
Not yet, sir. Yes, it's updating. Yes, it's audible. It's
Yes.
visible. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, all participants. Welcome to the National Summit 2020. The theme is Innovation in Forensic Era, which is organized really very good by JAX Foundation. I will discuss some most important part of forensic science or crime scene investigation, that is recording or documentation of the crime scene. Documentation of crime scene as well as forensic photography, which all those things we cannot go through much more detail about in this field. It will take much time. We have 15 minutes, so we will go a glimpse to forensic photography. Necessity of forensic photography and videography. Why it is important, and what role is of photography and videography in forensic science as well as crime scene investigation. First, it is a standard operating procedure. You must have to follow the standard operating procedure of forensic science. The SOP has been issued by an ICFS as well as all other institutions like DFSS, or they all are saying that the recording of the crime scene as well as Supreme Court has directed to record video as well as for heinous crime who is the imprisonment is more than 7 years. So it is a standard operating procedure that must to be followed. Another, it is a permanent record of crime scene or evidences. Why it is necessary that to make a record of crime scene or evidences? To establish the evidence, to establish the crime scene. Nowadays, crime is becoming a huge technical. So it is very important to record a crime scene, because the cases have going longer period, which is going in the court taking 10 to 15 years as well as so it is very important to record crime scene as well as evidence. Reconstruction of crime scene, it is very useful. Photography and videography is very essential, and it will very helpful to reconstruct the crime scene for future. Maintaining chain of custody, like performa of maintaining chain of custody is also very important to maintain the chain of custody performa in forensic science. If you record the evidences or if you record the crime scene, then it is maintained by the integrity of the evidences, which also is the authenticity of evidences, as it will be very helpful to recall expert memory. It will essential. It is very helpful for recall of memory and the presentation of photography evidence in the court of law. If you are presenting crime scene in the court of law, the judge has to understand what happened at the crime scene. So it is very best to produce photographic evidences as well as videographic evidences. Now, what documentation of crime scene? Documentation of crime scene is involved in 4 parts. That is photography, second videography, third sketching, and note making. If we discuss about photography, then photography is a recording of lights on any light sensitive material, or in the form of digital form is sensors. The 2 types of sensors available in digital cameras, that is CCD, that called charge coupled device, and then CMOS, complementary metal oxide semiconductors. This sensors plays the role of film. So you can define photography in this way. So photography, documentation of photography is also divided in another 4 parts, like close up, mid range, bird eye view, and the crime scene, those who are in very complicated places, as well as videography is also the same procedure. So we will discuss about photography and videography. You can see digital photography is a form of photography that uses cameras containing arrays of electronic photodetectors to capture images focused by lens instead of photographic film. The captured images are digitized and stored as a computer file, ready for further digital processing, viewing, or digital publishing. This is a simple generic definition for digital photography. Another, that you can also say that digital photography is the process of using electronic and computing appliances to capture, create, edit, and share digital images and photographs. Digital photographs are you are using social media accounts as well as other platforms like online Google Meets. All is the presentation that you are going to be put in front of the others. So photographs is important in everyone's life. We need to understand a parts of DSLR camera. If you DSLR camera, single lens reflex camera, is also known as digital DSLR, that is digital, D for digital. So in the most important part of the camera is the body part as well as the lens from where the light is entering. So you can see this path of the light, aperture, lens element, pentaprism, viewfinder, sensor, and shutter, mirror. These are some parts of digital DSLR camera which are most important and which need to be some understand. The eye replaced by the sensors. So the film or sensor is replica of retina. Diaphragm, which is the replica of iris. Aperture, that is the replica of pupil. Lens, in our eye there is also the lens, and the black point, that also is known as choroid. Now I would like to define forensic photography, also known as forensic imaging or crime scene photography, or it may be all police photography. It is the process to make permanent record of evidence or evidences or crime scene with the help of scientific equipments, which also involves scientific techniques with the help of scientific instruments with different type of light sources, filters, lenses, etc. for the presentation of evidence in the court of law. For the purpose of justice, to form a justice. You can say that to make a permanent record of any evidence or crime scene, while you are using a scientific equipments, which with the help of some techniques, like in forensic photography, there are reprobate, there are DSLR cameras, video cameras, as well as including softwares for enhancing the images, videos. So these all techniques and instruments, software, filters, lenses will be very useful to make a permanent record on the sensor or any memory card or any media. So it will help you to present in the court for the purpose or to form a justice. Videography, you need to understand the basic information of videography refers to a process of capturing moving images or electronic media, example videotape, direct to disc, recording or solid state, and even streaming media. The term includes method of video production and post-production. This means the video production is it involves with pre-production and as well as post-production. You have to, when you are going for videography of the scene or the area, you need to do some homework, like you have to be a prepare for a pre-production, that you have to arrange all those accessories, cameras, tripods, lenses, lights. So that is in pre-production. And the post-production, after coming back to your lab after recording the video, you need to do some editing or for post-production. But in forensic photography or videography, you are not considered to do any editing in the photograph as well as videograph. It used to be considered the video equivalent of cinematography, moving images recorded on a film or stock. But advent of digital video recording in the late 20th century blurred and distinction between the two. As in both methods, the intermediate mechanism became the same. Nowadays, any video work could be called videography, whereas commercial motion pictures production will be called cinematography. That's a slight difference between videography as well as cinematography. Cinematographers are recording commercially. They are producing for motion pictures for commercial purposes. And videography could be, like, you can define as the recording of moving images, as well as containing some audio content also, as well as containing visuals. That is called or video program. News broadcasting relies heavily on live television, where videographers engage in electronic news gathering of local stories. Now let's come to forensic photography, which aspects involved in forensic photography. If we go to in depth, like ultraviolet photography, that what is ultraviolet photography and why it is used? Infrared photography, transmitted light photography, or crime scene photography, laboratory photography, examination of manipulated photos, and also videos. If we say about ultraviolet photography, that is very essential while on the crime scene where the blood cannot be seen by your naked eyes. Infrared photography is essential in the night as well as for detecting manipulation in documents. Transmitted light photography is essential for the object which can be seen through only by transmitted light, like examination of watermark in the currency or passport or non-judicial stamp paper. Crime scene photography is most important part, that is we have discussed earlier also. Laboratory photography, that is for the opening, and forensic photography also involved examination of manipulated photos with different softwares like MPEG-5 as well as Adobe Photoshop, FPC, Final Cut Pro. Ultraviolet, visible, as well as infrared photography is come in this. You can understand what is visible and infrared. Everyone has, I think so, studied like spectrum of electromagnetic spectrum. In that you can see the visible, that VIBGYOR, violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. In this is in the nanometer from to visible range can be from 400 to 700 nanometers. That is it defines in various categories. Ultraviolet from 200 to 400 nanometers, and if infrared is beyond 700 to 1200 nanometers. Application of forensic photography in forensic science. In forensic document division, you have much application of forensic photography, which involves a photography of handwriting checks, as well as ultraviolet features in currency, as well as in passport, as well as transmitted light photography for the examination of watermark, as well in examination of chemical erasers, mechanical erasers, which can help in with the help of photography. In forensic physics, the most important thing is number restoration from of vehicle. So because the number vehicle it takes very few seconds for appeared and then it appeared and disappear within a 2 to 3 seconds. That we need a very specialized technique to capture and to record that restoration of number of vehicles or engines, chassis numbers. Forensic biology and DNA, nowadays we are using photography through microscope for recording the essential things, as well as photography of blood stains, semen or body fluids, which can be done. In forensic chemistry, toxicology, and medical legal cases. In chemistry, we can find arson cases where the fire is traveling. In medical legal cases, we can do photography of dead body as well as post-mortem photo and videography. Digital and cyber forensic, that we have to capture images or the serial numbers of digital evidences. Photography of fingerprints at the scene of crime, as well as those which cannot be seen by naked eyes, which have to be developed by some technique to capture. Criminal profiling, to make criminal profiling for database. Still, India is looking for the database that is developed by an NCRB for fingerprint. Now they are looking to develop a database of criminal profiling, which already is in process and developed by CCTV examination and video enhancement. These are the both things which is really in the connection, that because in India we get the footages from the police department or any investigating agencies that we need to be enhance the images and videos for the examination purpose. Recording latent images of fingerprint as well as for blood which cannot be seen on the naked eyes. Latest advancement in forensic photography, that is the 3D laser scanner. Really, it is very useful and very helpful for recording the crime scene in 3 directions, that is length, height, and width. So,
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Can you please conclude your topic within 5 minutes, as there is a short of time?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
3D printing technology. 3D printing technology is very useful for facial reconstruction. Drone forensic, also known as unmanned aerial vehicle, that is UAV, that is utilized in map geographical database. Infrared images, that we can capture the infrared images. Unmanned, it is the most important, that you can visit the crime scene about 2 kilometers, more than 2 kilometers, as well as where you cannot go. Surveillance purposes and tall and huge areas which cannot be recorded by camera, that is very useful. The drone camera or drone forensic will be very useful. Recent scientific advancements have made drones, also known as UVs, unmanned air vehicles, more accessible to the public, causing an increase in their popularity. The potential application of drones range from single laser and recreational purposes to photography and transport, serving security. The list goes on. With the increased demand and subsequent availability, there has also been a rise in drone used in crime. This creates a need of forensic analysis into devices used for drones due to the use of custom electronic flight system within the different drone devices. To date, appropriate forensic tools have not been developed. This paper covers used to often tools and development of the some basic script to aid forensic analysis to popular drones. Last but not least, the picture is worth of 1,000 words. Like if you go and see any of unseen crime scene, after the 1 hour, 2 hour, you cannot recall all those things, but a picture says more than 1,000 words. So it is very useful. Thank you, and please have any question as you can pin me.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really helpful information for all of us. And you taught us each and every tool and evidence has its own importance and role in a crime investigation. Also, photographers here, you just came up to know about a new opportunity. The only thing is you should be brave enough to witness a crime scene. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And the queries, we'll be updating you.
Yes.
We'll send a mail, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
So, and finally, we are moving towards the end of the session. And here is some bonus tip for you from my side. So far we have learned so many things, and especially in these 2 days. So But you should always remember that a knowledge without using it is useless. So everyone should start thinking about how we should start applying this knowledge, whether it is about forensic or whatever knowledge you have. It could be anything. You can teach someone, you can make an article, you can make a video or something like, or you can give awareness to people around you. And especially in the case of crime scene and forensic sciences, it will be very much helpful. Like if you teach others about how to handle the situation, especially if you are encountering with a crime or crime scene, a particular situation, because it will be always, most of the time, it will be unexpected. So we can teach those people. It will be very much helpful, and you can use this knowledge. They can also use this knowledge. So, Anuja ma'am was yesterday explaining about all these things, how to deal the crime scene without contaminating the area and all. So use that knowledge well, and be innovative, be consistent, learn more, be optimistic. Like if you see, this pandemic situation itself has opened up with a lot of opportunities to us. Like we have online classes, plenty of seminars and conferences going on. So attend all of them whenever you are possible. And I wish everyone all the best, and a special thanks to all delegates, speakers, and coordinators. So I believe I did my duty well. So Shraddha, I'm handing over to you. Thank you so much, everyone. Shraddha, are you there?
She's experiencing some network issues, so Miss Namita will carry on with the proceedings. Miss Namita Garg, I invite you to carry on with the proceedings.
Okay, thank you so much, Chandran and Anju. Now I request the dignitaries are requested as the panel of the judges in Young College session, as students from the different colleges have been participated in this national summit. They are having few queries regarding the forensic sciences. Please kindly start. Ms. Chubi will start the session. Ms. Chubi.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. My name is Chuviniji. Sir, it is not a question, it is a request. Can I proceed?
Yes.
Can I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
We have come across numerous crime cases in India, like RUC murder case, the very recent Hathras rape case, and Sushant Singh Rajput case. And one common factor in all such cases is the presence of the loopholes due to the negligence of investigating team. Investigating team failed to preserve the fingerprint in RUC murder case. CCTV footage got lost in Hathras rape case from their district hospital, because police didn't initiate it to ask the hospital to save the footage within 1 week. After 1 week, it is not possible to back up the footage. In Sushant Singh Rajput case, Viscera wasn't preserved properly. Not only that, there are many cases in my state where cases get unsolved, get buried in the closed file, just because of the loss of evidences. Barricading tapes are not put around the crime scene. Public get free entrance and unconsciously hamper the authenticity of the evidence. We can understand when layman people do that unconsciously. But when a group of people who is specifically trained to handle such situation or cases, to contribute their part to provide a justice to a victim, instead the negligence turns out to be their response. That's what settles the hope of public like us. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my request to the respected eminent speakers present here to regulate an awareness program to enlighten people about how to file a FIR, how to preserve the evidences if he or she becomes a victim of any crime, or what are the steps to be taken against when the negligence of police and investigating team are ruled. This awareness program won't only help the victim, but also it will help the victim's family to become a victim of another such negligence. So this is my request from my side. Thank you.
Chubinisi is a very well-raised question, and it is a need of ours. As I said, that we always say that a police officer has not done their job properly, but it's important that we should understand that police officers are not properly trained. Are we being a professional? Are we training them? So your point is very valid, that we should do the training. We should provide training to the police officers. We should provide training to the corporate. We should provide trainings and awareness programs to the advocates, so that they can understand the importance of the evidence. They can understand how evidence can be packed, what are the things when they can procure. Like as you said, CCTV is not procured, and it cannot be found after a few days. It just depends upon that how much awareness. If they are reaching on at the scene of crime, their investigating skill is very poor in few places, because in first information, when reach to the police officers, junior police officers, level of sub inspector, they reach when the cases become a in a national news, like you are discussing about the RUC or discussing about the Sushant Singh Rajput. They are the high sensitive cases, but it doesn't mean that they are not taking care of the evidence. Actually, they are not aware about the evidence. They are not aware about how to collect and what to collect. So it's a duty of being a forensic fraternity people to train them, provide training and the awareness program. So it's very well raised point. I appreciate being a learner, being a forensic students. You are thinking of in this direction, and it's, all the dignitary also can approach their police team into the different area. They can spend their 1 hour, 2 hours, because nowadays we are becoming, it's a, attending any session on online is a new normal for the police officers, for everyone. Everyone have their smartphones. They all can interact. They all can ask their query. So I think it's a very well raised question, and also the students, those who have learned the different criteria of the packaging of the evidence, collecting the evidence from the scene of crime. You should share also your knowledge with the police officers. At least go to your nearby police station, connect with the station house officer, share your knowledge, gain the experience, learn the cases, because train the trainer is the policy is the very important, that whatever you tell them, whatever they know, you ask them, because sometimes first hand experience is very, very important. If you are not aware about that, what kind of evidence can you find at the scene of crime. So it's very tough for being an investigator to understand. Like as I explained, that network structure, there are many things which is going on, but police officers are not aware. They are taking the help of the professional. Like if there is some big financial fraud, they are taking the help of the chartered accountant just to understand what is a debit, what is a credit, what is a balance sheet. They are not aware about. So it's our duty, being a forensic professional, being any professional, to enhance and join hand together to make an investigating skill more and more accurate, so that we can reach to the maximum, crime-free country.
Thank you so much, sir. It is delightful to get a response like this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm asking to experts here, like police handles cases on its own. They don't care about truth most of the time. As in Pradyuman murder case, police beaten a bus conductor hardly without any proper evidences. And later, which is proved in CBI investigation. And I am asking here, what is the main step fully which is the initiative of development of forensic science in India, as why we don't have experts in every investigation, and where is the main problem to the government in fully application of forensic science?
Any esteemed speaker wants to answer this question? Okay, so Shakir, as you discussed about the Pradyuman case, the prima facie, acceptance by the driver, and the police always work on the whatever the evidence, best evidence present at the scene of crime, because police do not have anything related to the driver. They are not at all have any grudge or the personal enemy with the driver. Whatever the things they have found and the acceptance, like in many cases, road accident cases, where the driver was someone else but admitted by the employed driver. The police arrest first the driver, and later on during the investigation they found that yes, this is not the driver. The lacuna here is not about the police and about not the investigation. It's about the evidence they are finding at the scene of crime. As I said, no crime is a complex crime and no crime is a simple crime. It's just depend upon that how you are using the skills. If you are not using your proper skills, then you are poor investigator, and if you are using a full your skill, then you are a very good investigator. It can be even in the check fraud cases. It seems that it's a check fraud, but being a police officer, you are not able to understand how the check fraud can be done. So it's depend upon the particular skill set of the police officers. Many cases, things are turned up during the investigation if the things are done by the local LEA, law enforcement or the state police, and during the CBI investigation, because they get into more and more deeper, and they get more evidence due to the media presence and the social media. So in that condition, yes, I agree that in higher investigation we are getting a different result, while in the famous case Sushant Singh Rajput, you can see the result is same as it is by the Mumbai police, Maharashtra police. So sometimes, yes, I agree with you that sometimes result change just because of the investigating skill change. It doesn't mean that the officers, those who have done the investigation, they have any intention to nullify the intention. There can be sometimes there can be intention, but not always, like cases of the Pradyuman and others. Again, here is very important, like if any, many judgment, if you read the judgment of the lower court, and in a higher court judgment was just not accepted with the judgment with the lower court, it doesn't mean the judicial officer, those who have pronounced the judgment in the lower court, they do not have the knowledge about the law. It's just upon the perspective, scenario, and the presentation. Similarly, happened with the forensic also. Now, past 5-6 years, we, or I can say maximum 10 years, we are discussing at least about the forensic. Earlier, it was called as forsenic or ballistics. So there are different, things which we are developing day by day, and nowadays students are also connecting to the different platform, and they are raising their voice so that government can recruit more and more forensic students, those who have at least they have the knowledge about the temperament about the investigation. They have the temperament about the investigation, and they want to pursue. They know that what is a forensic science, while the other are not aware about the forensic science. Can be a good person, can be a good investigator, can be a good knowledgeable person, but presenting the things as a forensic, only the forensic students can do in a better way.
So what is the main step then, which is initiative of development of forensic in every investigation and using in every investigation?
Can you repeat your question again? What actually you want?
Which is the main step now that government allows the forensic science and its application in every case, in every areas?
See, government are allowing in many states, they have their regional forensic science and the district forensic science unit also. We are lacking with the manpower. If district is having 80-90 villages and different polices, like 50 or 20 police stations, and in mobile unit only 2 or 3 people are there. They have the structure, they have the things, only manpower is required, and day by day manpower recruitment is increasing. And recently, in the past 2 years back, Supreme Court also put fine on some state that why you are not recruiting people if you have the more than 50% seats vacant in your laboratory. So it is in a process. There are several criteria which cannot be happen over a night, but it requires time. But yes, government is taking their steps. They are trying their best to do whatever they can do. Ultimately, they are the one who is going to suffer with the public aggression about if any crime is happening and they are not able to solve through the scientific acts.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
My question is, forensic science is not given as much importance as other core subjects like physics, chemistry are given in government labs. So what changes do you recommend should be done or made so that forensic is considered at same level as other subjects or core subjects in government labs or firms?
See, in many forensic science laboratories, their R&R is old and they are following the old rules and regulation. But I remember few states, they have announced their vacancy with the old rules and regulation, and by the appointment and by the several discussions and the request, they have changed the rule and regulation. And nowadays, many forensic, no, I cannot say all the forensic science laboratory, but many forensic science laboratory, they are giving a equal opportunity to the forensic science students as they are giving to the normal students. Earlier, it was not like that. Earlier, if you want to go in the question document division and you have the forensic science degree, you are not at all eligible to fill even the form. But now the things are changing. Many places it is changing. I cannot say it's 100% change, but yes, it's many places changing and required time.
Can I add to that, Dr. Ranjit?
Yes, sir. Samir, sir, please.
See, basically, there are two aspects. One is the employment aspect with government labs, and what is happening is that the criteria has begun to change, as you rightly mentioned. What is happening is that they are saying that the core degrees or a post graduation in forensic science. So, other than the core degrees, post graduation is also there. And when a person is interviewed for the government job, what normally happens is that the people from the forensic science courses have a more a stronger opportunity and a stronger possibility of getting recruited. This is from the government labs. When it comes to the private sector, you will find that the private sector is when they're recruiting people from forensic universities and colleges, they are going for the forensic degrees, not for the basic degrees. The actual recruitment for forensic opportunities are nowadays happening from the forensic courses when it comes to private recruiters. So these two trends are being seen, and especially in the digital forensics area, where I am active and involved, we are sort of our focus is also more towards forensic science people than towards core degrees. I hope that answers your question, Dina.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, very true, sir. Even in the any general insurance agencies or any life insurance, they are looking for the forensic science. Last year, they have recruited many students from the Gujarat Forensic Science University, and I refer Tata AIG. They can recruit the forensic science, and they recruited the forensic sciences. Students from the Gujarat Forensic Science Institute, because for the risk management unit, if they are recruiting any people, those who have the normal degree of MBA or having a commerce degree, better they can recruit the forensic science, those who have at least understanding of the different scientific parameter which is submitted as a evidence for the claim and other things. So forensic science students, they have the idea about that what are the medical terminologies are used in the postmortem. They have idea. I cannot say they are the expert in every field, but at least they have the idea. So insurance company, either it's a life insurance or it's a general insurance, they are giving a preference to the forensic science students than any other students. But the problem here, we being a forensic science student, we are not approaching them. We always had to dream to work in the forensic science laboratory. And remember, forensic science laboratory, neither today nor in the future going to have the vacancy so that they can absorb all the students in one go.
Thank you, sir. That was a very convincing answer. So I would like to ask another question. whether criminalistics and crimes in intelligence and forensics is being utilized and developed proactively in countering terrorism. If no, then why? As it might prove much more beneficial for the government to do so.
I think Sameer sir will add in this, and government are doing many proactive activities related to the, opting the things, and by which, and Dr. Sharon Thomas also can add in this because they have the expertise in the particular area.
Hello, thank you for the question. Actually, first thing I actually want to tell you is that when it comes to terrorism and conflict zone, war zone is completely different from civilian life. So when you take into account of different war crimes happening in a war zone, you can see, for an example, disappearance cases. Enforced disappearance actually happens there, and extrajudicial killing. So when you take the statistics, according to Amnesty and the State Human Rights Commission, there are more than 2,000 bodies found in Kashmir, in the 6 villages where they had mass graves and what do you say, unidentified bodies. So when a plea, when a plea was given to the government to do or run forensic or DNA analysis on the particular cases, the government said it's not quite practically possible to conduct so. So one thing we actually have to understand is that it's not always easy, though we talk about DNA analysis and new technologies. So the expense and the time consuming here is actually a big question. So, and one more thing you actually have to know is that the laws and regulations which is applicable in conflict area is completely different from civilian life and civilian area. So I think that is also could be a reason for this. And there actually the military rule is maybe if you must have been to Kashmir or northern sites where the military rule is applicable, you will know what I actually mean. I hope it's okay. I mean, the answer is quite okay.
Sameer sir, you can add about the digital things which government is doing.
So, could you sort of repeat the question, please? It sort of faded out.
Yes, sir. I was asking whether criminalistics and crimes in intelligence and forensics is being utilized and developed proactively in countering terrorism. If no,
Yes, it
then
is extensively being used. I can now answer the question. It is extensively being used. A lot of digital technologies are being used in countering terrorism. There are a lot of cases you don't hear about, which don't come in the news, which have been effectively stopped because of digital forensics and investigations. There are a lot of cases that are successfully solved post the incident, again because of digital forensics and investigations and technologies. So there is a lot that is happening. See, terrorism is not something that is publicized a lot until it is an incident in the public domain. But this is an ongoing process, and it's actually not just limited to Kashmir. It is happening across the country and across the world as well. And in all the cases, digital technologies are extensively being used.
thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for providing us a better perspective.
You're welcome.
So I would like to know that the courses like ballistics and forensic MBA that are taught in colleges, do they have any proper field in India yet? Because till now I know that ballistics is not very popular in India.
See, as far as the ballistic expert is concerned, if you want to go and start your practice as a private expert, you will not going to get the evidence for the analysis. But yes, if you have the good knowledge, you can be a good advisor for the any kind of cases to the lawyers. You can give your expertise to the lawyers for any report which is submitted by the any expert of the India, and any claims which is claimed that this is accidental fire, or this is a suicidal case, or this is a murder. So being a ballistic with your knowledge of the ballistics, you can help them. But if you just consider that you want to analyze the evidence in your private laboratory, states will not hand over that evidence to the forensic science laboratory, private forensic science laboratory, as of now. In future, it can be developed. It depends upon that states and depend upon the police decisions. Either they want to get this evidence analyzed by the private laboratory or by the government laboratory. But at present, we are not receiving any ballistic evidence in our laboratory for the examination.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. I just wanted to know if, like, normally when a criminal ends up showing any type of remorse after committing the crime, is the punishment going to be the same or is it reduced in any way? Also, do these kind of criminals undergo some kind of therapy to, come out from that kind of trauma?
As far as the Indian, IPC and the CRPC, they have the conviction equal for everyone. In few cases, you have heard like Nanna Sahni and other cases, conviction was reduced on the basis of their behavior and other things. It's depend upon the case to case, but as far as concern, and many jails, they have the counselors, they are giving medications, they have the yoga centers to sometimes many are the first time criminals, so they have the rehabilitation center. Better, I think the psychologist Dr. Sharon Thomas can give a light on this.
Yes, thank you. So as Sir Ranjit already said, in India, like we can say that. I think even in my talk, I talked about it. So law is equal for everyone. So if you have done a crime, you are supposed to be punished. So law is equal for everyone. But in India, we don't have the concept of reconciliation. But comes to abroad or foreign countries, the US and UK, you take. So after they serve a particular time of punishment or maybe for years of imprisonment, the next step is of reintegration. When it comes to reintegration, reconciliation actually happens. So there, the person or the suspect is given a chance to meet the victim and the family. Here, the suspect actually asks for forgiveness and pardon, and a reconciliation actually happens. So this is a process and practice which happens abroad, but unfortunately, that's not here. And when it comes to the medication and the treatment, if the psychologist or the correctional administration people, if they find that there is actually a need for psychological help and counseling, it is for sure given in our case too. Yeah, thank you.
Is it do you think it'll ever be applied in India?
Sure. It's, as I said, it's always evolving, and you can actually feel the change. You can feel the way in which actually it promotes change. So right now we are talking more of a victim-oriented approach, so than criminal justice system. Criminal justice it's actually right now it's criminal-oriented approach, or then we'd be like talking about victim-oriented approach. So when it comes to victim-oriented approach, I think for sure we can expect more changes. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was a very nice answer to this.
I have a question, sir. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. I want to know that in which cases my question is quite different from, but it is related with forensic science and forensic psychology. I want to know that in which cases a criminal psychologist or forensic psychologist played an important role of expert witness and helped the court in investigation on the basis of which the court has taken the verdict.
Okay, sir, can I answer the question, sir? Yes. Okay. So right now in India, if you want a forensic psychologist or a criminal psychologist to intervene in the case, the person should be asked for it, or the court should actually seek for help. So that's what I was talking about. We don't have a proper procedure or we can say the guideline which actually promotes or which actually channelize criminologist, forensic criminologist or forensic psychologist to the case. Right now our situation is like if a case demands a help of a forensic psychologist or a forensic criminal, it's like the court should ask for the help. And offhand they are actually seeking help for, the investigative officers, the lawyers, and the stakeholders. They're offhand they actually, and without official documentations, actually they are seeking help. But when it comes to court, actually, yes, the procedures has to be followed. Hope Tanya is fine with the answer. Or
Ma'am, there are few cases, Arushi murder case, Arushi Hemraj murder case, Noida murder case, and Madhumita Shukla murder case, where SL Vaya ma'am played an important role as a
Yes.
forensic psychologist in a criminal investigation. And
Yes.
I have read it about Anuja Trihan ma'am, Anuja Trihan Kapoor ma'am, who is a very famous criminal psychologist and has played an important role in various cases, legal cases. But I want to know more about that, and so I want her contact number as well. Please, if I will be very thankful to you if you will provide me.
Yes, actually, you can talk to the organizers regarding that. I hope they'll provide you the number. And again, regarding the case you were talking about, see, in India, mostly what happens is that once the case is sensitized or sensitization happens, or there is a media hype, for sure, yes, for sure, a lot of people involved, a lot of big names are there, a lot of people involved. Otherwise, it's not quite mandatory or usually doesn't happen. So once the media take up the case, yes, you can see that all these forensic stakeholders like forensic psychologists or criminologists or everyone is like pop into the case. So that's actually happened. As you said, so there's like this. I can say there's only a handful of cases we can actually remember and recollect right now, right? So thanks to the media again, at least we have a number of cases which focus on this.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. On behalf of National Summit 2020 and the entire organizing team of the JET Foundation, would like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the dignitaries, guests of honor, and the eminent speakers for the gracing your improvement work and sharing with us your findings and the opinions today, and to all the lovely participants and the academicians present there. Also, I would like to give hearty thanks to the founder and managing director of SIFS, that is Sherlock Institute of Forensic Science, Dr. Ranjit Sir, to Mr. Jatinder Kumar, director and the founder of JET Foundation, for the perfectly managing his entire team. All the board of directors, Ms. Sharda Banerjee, HR coordinator, Ms. Simran Garg, technical head and the entire team coordinator, and Ms. Anju, who is the moderator of this evening. Thank you for helping in conducting a successful summit. Without your cooperation and the patience, it wouldn't have been possible. So after attending such an interactive speech, I want to inform all the participants who want to continue this journey with us towards innovation in the forensic era, stay connected with us, as our aim is to give opportunity for job, entrepreneurship, research, startup, and many more to each and every student. It's a long journey, but as this initiative has been taken, so don't let it go. Join hands and move together for all the great future ahead. A link will be shared with all the participants who want to learn and achieve more in the field for the forensic science. Thank you so much. Thank you each and every person here. Over to you, Anju ma'am.
A quick announcement, everyone. I would like to inform all the speakers, delegates, and our participants that your e-certificates will be provided on your emails, and all the students who have submitted their papers and posters will receive participation certificate, and all those who are selected for final round, we will let you know by an email. And we invite you all to be part of the JAX Foundation, and you can surely drop us mail, and the coordinators will contact you back. And the mail ID is mentioned in the chat box, I guess. And the teasers, newsletters, and all updates of these 2-day summit will be posted on social media. So I thank you, everyone, for being part of the summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all the organizing team, and a special thanks to Namita, Anju, and Shraddha for conducting this seminar in this very smooth way. So I congratulate to particularly all the organizing team, and I request all the participants to give a clap for Namita, Anju, and Shraddha.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the speakers and delegates, and patiently for waiting this long, because it's lunchtime, it's past lunchtime. So thank you so much.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
All the best.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
all in Indian scenario, because we are lacking so many funds. I hope in the times to come things will improve, as in terms of forensic surveys, or in that way that we think that will be a all India forensic science surveys, so that we are able to attract and retain talent, which will not only innovate the forensic but also do render proper service to the society at large. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.